Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Alexiot's here, and it's a Friday freak out because we're freaking out because free agency, we're on the brink of it. This is going to be coming down real soon later today. There was already so many stories and noise and rumors about all kinds of stuff going on yesterday. It's a weird day yesterday, the day between the new CBA getting released and the free agency period starting today. There's been scrambling all around all 30 teams in the NBA. All kinds of stuff happening. A lot of James Harden rumors yesterday as he has announced he would opt into his contract with the Sixers, and they're exploring to trade him because he does not want to play for the Sixers. He wants them to trade him. So there's all kinds of crazy stuff that's in flux in the NBA once again. Big names looking at different places, possibly going different places like Lillard, Irving, Harden. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And the landscape of the NBA once again will get shuffled up and dealt a little bit differently in this month that we're just about to start tomorrow. Yeah, good morning, Raptor Freaks. Good to see y'all. Trevor J. Good morning, Raptor family. Good to see you, Trevor. He's saying, sorry to hear Raptors have put Toronto's Banton as a free agent. This is Nick Nurse's fault. Horrible job he did with this young man. And he's like, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Okay, Trevor. Well, let's talk about this. There were a couple moves done by the Raptors themselves yesterday. We offered qualifying offers to Jeffrey Dowtin Jr. and Ron Harper Jr., thus restricting them as free agents to be, we control where they go, and we can pay match whatever anybody else will pay Ron and Jeff. So we made that move for them. But we did not make the move for Dalano, and I have no idea what's happening with that exactly. But yeah, Dalano officially declined the option on him. He is an unrestricted free agent, which means he is out free in the wilderness at this point. Here, I want to read, Aaron Rose has an article about this. This is so y'all can understand something about this. In some ways, this is very much a money move, guys. Toronto's decision not to qualify Banton doesn't necessarily mean he won't be back with the team next season, guys. The qualifying offer was going to be more than the minimum for Banton, and the Raptors need as much financial flexibility as possible ahead of free agency. So Toronto can, in theory, re-sign Banton for less than the qualifying offer once free agency begins. Now, this is going to be something where we're going to have to look and see if anybody has some strong interest in Dalano. And if Dalano is interested in getting that more money and going somewhere else, that could be the problem here with unrestricting him as a free agent. So we'll have to see what happens here. It could very well be that the plan's already figured out. And just like what Aaron Rose's article says, they had to do what they did with Banton yesterday to allow them to re-sign him back for less so that they can make the whole salary cap structure fit. Now, with Delano's career, has he done enough to be a hot commodity in the NBA? Well, maybe. There may be somebody out there that's willing to pay him a little bit more than we are. But once again, there's a lot about loyalty. There's a lot about him being from Toronto, and it's not really broken, so don't fix it. In some ways, Delano's pinching himself that he's just in the NBA, let alone playing for his hometown Raptors. So we'll have to see what happens with Dalano. I have no idea what's going to happen with him. I hope that he is still back because we like having our own Canadian players on our team for sure. And hopefully this is all part of the plan that we'll hear in the next couple days, him coming back for a different price. And it fits better with everything that we're trying to do. So, yeah, we could blame Nick. Sure, I don't mind scapegoating the hell out of Nick Nurse in his exit from this team and where he is now. I could blame him for not getting enough out of him last year. His first year, they did all right with Banton. He really did start to make some good strides in his rookie year. But in the second year, they absolutely failed with him. Because last summer, Banton put in so much work playing for Canada and South America, killing the Summer League. He absolutely dominated in the Summer League last year. And he had a really strong finish to his rookie year playing for the Raptors also. Well, all that momentum built up in the Rico Hines runs from all the players was squashed at some point and lost. And a very good signifier of that is Dalano Banton's development curve and how it was so rising in the summer of 2022. And now in the summer of 2023, we're like, what the fuck did he do this season? He didn't do nothing. And in some ways, we can blame Nick for that because there was confusion about where he should be. Was he a 905 or was he on the regular roster? Was he even getting in games? Was he just exiled to the bench like Malachi Flynn, Jeff Dowtin Jr., and the rest of them? Yeah, there was a lot of that. And we can point a finger at Nick for that one for sure. Yeah, Dana's here also. Good morning, Canadian Dana. Good morning, everyone. Banton is gone. Well, this is the kind of thing where you got to let something loose and find out if it was really yours in the first place. Well, we'll have to see. Banton has a personal decision to make, and we'll have to see. I know if there's something weird like where he signs with San Antonio for just a little bit more than what we can give him. Well, is that the biggest loss in the world in some ways? It's kind of like, he's not a super, super important player to our team. He's a player we love to develop and keep around for vibes, for that hometown pairing. There's all kinds of reasons like that. But some people say we don't care about that kind of shit. We just want him to be good. And if he's not a good player, he's holding up a roster spot. So let him go. So in some ways, this is kind of a calculated risk by Bobby and Masai. They're either going to get Dalano back at the price that they want to pay him, or he goes somewhere else. And in some ways, people say, well, that's not good. Well, is it a big deal, though, in some ways? In some ways, it's not. So Nick Nurse is an effing clown. Dana coming in strong about Nick Nurse. Yeah, in some ways, you're right. He really is kind of a clown right now. I mean, he just joined a clown show. Now he's getting to see the main clown, one of the best clowns in the league, clowning around. James Harden. Oh, it's so good. Everybody's talking about wanting James now. The Clippers seem like the most likely spot from my educated eye and what they have for assets and what could be traded. It could very well be a weird thing where either Russell, Westbrook, Paul George, or Kawhi Leonard end up on the Sixers all of a sudden in trade for James Harden. That would make the Sixers seem really weird. I think the one I'd hate to see the most is Leonard, obviously, because it would just look so bizarre and weird to see Kawhi Leonard in a blue Sixers jersey with Nick Nurse coaching him. Just think about that for just a second. And maybe they can traumatize Joel every day in practice if that happens. I don't know. Maybe he runs out of practice every day crying just because Kawhi and Nick are on his team all of a sudden. That would be hilarious. But yeah, that's the one I don't want to go see going there. Seriously, although it could be a mess, even if he does go there, as far as with injuries and Sixers fans. But yeah, I don't want to see Kawhi and Nick reunited in Philadelphia. I'm pretty sure the Clippers value Kawhi the most out of all those guys over there. So it would be more likely, definitely be Russell first, maybe Paul George before Kawhi. I don't know. Steve Ballmer, what are you thinking? But I think James Harden going to the Clippers is very likely. Very, very likely. They've said that James going to Houston is not likely at all at this point. Yeah, I love it. All right. Dana's saying at Trevor J, I fully agree with you on Nick Nurse, and I'm so mad. Nick Nurse developed no one. Well, I'm going to be devil's advocate and say he developed Scotty a little bit. He developed Pascal. He developed Fred. He developed the guys he played, like overplayed them. He really overdeveloped some of our top guys. I don't know if you can say overdeveloped. But yeah, he was developing the starters. That's what he did. He did not develop the bench. That's for damn sure. Nameless is here and he's retracting his messages. I don't know what's up with that, Nameless. If you have something to say, don't be wordless. We like nameless, not wordless. Isaac Campbell's here. Fourth, just like SB fourth. Happy free agent Friday, freaks. Yeah, fourth. I just like Scotty Barnes, fourth. I don't even know what you're referring to, Isaac, exactly. But happy free agency Friday, freaks, for sure. The excitement and all the craziness, there's so much going on. I feel like I was filling up that Facebook chat, maybe a little too much for you guys. I'm sorry if I was over chatting. I just wanted to keep y'all abreast of all the news in the NBA and what was happening as it comes out. So, yeah, I'm sorry about that. If I over chatted, you guys can put it on silent and come check it when you want to, just in case. Another news and note, I've completed the program to join YouTube as a partner, guys. Yes, I've been monetized as of yesterday, but I didn't turn it on yet. I think I might turn it on tomorrow. I just want to make sure I understand how YouTube's system works, and like if y'all are going to send me any money, I want to make sure that like YouTube, it knows where to send it and they're not just hoarding it. So that's the one thing I want to check before I turn it on for you guys. But yes, it's official. I'm a partner with YouTube on this channel at this point. It happened yesterday, guys, last night. Nako's saying, good to see you, Nako the Nacho, my good friend Gerald. Scotty and Pascal have always gotten better at passing under Nick Nurse. But yeah, when it comes to everyone else, I don't think anyone truly developed, except for maybe Koloko getting stronger. Well, can you say that's Nick? If it's Koloko getting stronger, I would say that's John Lee. John Lee's strength conditioning developed Koloko to get stronger in some ways. Yeah, I get what you're saying, Nako. He did really like overdevelop Scotty in some ways, which is good because we want to fast track Scotty to greatness. But the other guys, nothing. Not even a crumb for poor little Malachi, Dalano, and the rest of them. That's just what we found out. It's feast or famine with development with Nick. Either you're getting the feast of it or you're getting none of it, the famine. G saying apparently Houston is meeting Kyrie. This is getting interesting. Did Fred turn them down to be continued? All right. Thank you, G, for the segue. Always good to see Raptor Freak Trivia Champion #1, G, in the comments. Josh Lewinberg saying this. Josh Lewinberg is saying, I've talked to a few league insiders over the last couple days who are skeptical about Houston as a landing spot for Fred. It may be true that they can give him 40 plus million a year, but he may not be interested at all. Once again, Fred haters, your narratives about Fred are about to be debunked because Fred is going to refuse taking $10 more million to go to Houston and play babysitter to a bunch of kids. And he's going to stay in Toronto for $10 million less than he could be paid by the Houston Rockets. So you get ready, Fred haters, for your apology correction. I want to see it in the Toronto Star. You better get a full page. And I want to see every single one of you Fred haters' names on there saying, we apologize, Fred, for thinking you were a selfish asshole. We're the selfish assholes for thinking that about you. Because seriously, this is the way it's looking right now. In fact, I have some very credible league sources. I won't say where they come from. They're saying this is already a done deal, that Raptors Nation needs to just not even worry about this. Fred is a Raptor, and it will happen as soon as possible in the next 24 hours. There's somebody that knows somebody in the organization has confirmed that this is all but done and that nobody needs to worry about this except for the Fred haters because he is coming back, y'all. There's all kinds of implications and voices. Josh Lewinberg's source is very strong and credible, and expect Fred. Now, there's a weird thing because ESPN has a new article saying the value of the different projected salaries of each NBA free agent. And they kind of got Fred in this weird range of 30 to 35 million is what they've projected for him. And then for Poeltl, they're saying like 18 to 20 million. So I don't know if that's indicating that it'll be 30-20 or it could be 32-18, the split for the money for Fred and Jakob. Now, if it goes 32-18, people are going to think Fred's very greedy at that point. But then again, they'll have to say, well, wait, he didn't take 40 million for 2 years with Houston, though, guys. So I don't know. There's going to be a lot of stuff. What you're saying about them being interested in Kyrie all of a sudden is pointing to that they know they're not going to get Fred. Seriously, if they thought they were going to land Fred and just outbid us and pay so much money to get Fred, why are they talking to Kyrie all of a sudden in the last 24 hours, scrambling at that point? Seriously, they know they're not going to get Fred and they're trying to figure out plan B. There you go. There's all kinds of stuff we can talk about today. I mean, this is the weirdest kind of period in the NBA year. This very strange in between the CBA and the free agency just about to start. There's all kinds of crazy stuff going on. Tom Duke's here. Good to see Tom Duke on the West Coast. West Coast. Dobro Jutro, Raptor Freak family. That's good morning in Serbian. I've learned some Serbian from my good friend Tom, and I know that's Dobro Jutro. Jutro is good morning. A few days for us all to sit back and watch the madness of free agency. The anticipation around our roster is nuts. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. We're going to make some moves and change our roster a bit for this season coming up, but it's not going to be an overhaul. It's going to be the main core still, and we're just going to kind of redecorate the fringes of the roster. Get a couple of new trimmings around the edges with specialized skills. It may very well be they cater towards the wants and needs of our new coach, Rojakovic. We could see a very interesting person come to the city, and everybody's like, whoa, we got this player all of a sudden. I expect that. I fully expect that to happen where we make some sort of big, not a big name or some sort of name that people will be like, this is exciting because I want to see how they fit and mix with the Toronto Raptors team. So I fully expect that. Tristan Phipps is here again. Yo, W's for everybody. Yeah, W stream, bro. W's for Raptors Nation, guys. So yesterday I did the To The Point recording with King. It was a fantastic time, joyous time, lots of dick jokes. I'm not gonna lie. So if you enjoy dick jokes, definitely watch my appearance with To The Point. He's gonna post it tomorrow, apparently. So look out, give him a follow, a subscribe. To the Point with the King, and my appearance will be showing up on his channel tomorrow morning. So y'all check it out. To the Point with the King. And we were talking about the Raptors' future on his show yesterday. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good stuff. Y'all check it out for sure. Seymour's here. Happy Friday. We're wishing you guys the best. Thanks, Seymour. We wish you the best too in the center of the country there at Calgary, Alberta, Canada, home of Bret Hart and the Hart Foundation. Yeah, Seymour, holding it down in Hart Foundation country. Yeah, G saying Banton is an unrestricted free agent, but they can still re-sign him. I think they may be doing some creative coach contract work. Dowtin and Ron are RFAs. Yeah, this is good. This is good. I mean, all right. The speculation on this is with those two guys is Jeff Dowtin Jr. is going to get a full contract. No two-way contract, no weird contract or with stipulations. He's getting a guaranteed contract. Watch. That was probably part of the deal with him at the end of the year last year when we didn't convert him from a two-way to a full contract. We'll say, well, Jeff, just hold up. We promise you, we'll give you a full contract, not a two-way, not nothing. You're getting an NBA contract next season. He's like, all right, I'm in. I'll stay in Toronto all summer and hang out with everybody the whole summer because of this. I mean, we've seen him around Toronto the whole entire summer, working out with everybody else, going to Blue Jays games, being at different events like the Darko press conference. That Jeff Dowtin Jr. hasn't really left Toronto, and that's kind of signaled that this dude is a Raptor, and he knows it, and they've all worked it out. And, I expect he's not getting a two-way. He's going to be a fully rostered, full contract player for the Raptors this year. And you deserved it, Jeff Dowtin. We're so proud of you. Now, Ron, it's a little bit of a different story. His contract he may not exactly get on the team still. This is the thing. Ron's got to play well at Summer League. Ron's got to do really well in training camp, and he's got to win one of the roster spots on this team going into the season. So that it's a little bit different for RHJ. He's got work to do this summer to earn his spot. So we'll have to see how that goes with him as far as things. He may very well, I'll project that he'll get one of the 3 two-way spots with Nowell, and there'll be one left for somebody else. So that's kind of what I'm projecting for Ron Harper Jr. A two-way contract at the end of it by winning it through the training camp battle. We'll see how it goes for him, though. But he does have some advantages. His father, his lineage, and also the fact that he's been working very professionally with the Raptors already for a year always helps. Always helps. Fiercey's here. Good morning to Fiercey Salcero, Scotty Barnes, Twitch family 2022. Good morning, fam. Lots of decisions will be made today. Get that popcorn. Yeah. Well, most of them will have kind of already been figured out, and they just got to go through the motions and put them through. But we'll have to see. We will have to see. There's a new rule in the CBA I'm hearing where they don't have to wait to negotiate with their own people. That it used to be that you couldn't even talk to your own people until July the 1st. But that doesn't make any sense. How awkward is it with Fred coming into OVO Center to work out, and Bobby and Masai are there and like, hey, good to see you, Fred. I hope you work out good. It's like, yeah, we can't talk about contracts because the NBA won't let us right now. Well, they changed that rule. The teams that have guys that are already on the team can start negotiating with their guys as soon as the finals are over, and they don't have to wait for the July the 1st. This is a new rule that's hopefully going to allow teams to have an advantage at keeping their own players. It just makes sense. If you can negotiate separately without anybody else interfering with your own guy ahead of time before the deadline starts, well, you have an advantage of keeping your guy. Now, that technically wasn't this time, but next summer it will be this way. So it's a good new rule change. I like that the NBA is trying to keep teams together. This is really, really smart, and it's going to make these trade machine idiot fans go crazy. This is not how it works. This shuffle up and deal all the time, all kinds of crazy ways. The NBA doesn't like it. because once again, these teams don't have enough time to cultivate being good teams, and the product of the NBA suffers because these teams suck. It's like we watch basketball and we're like, these guys don't act like they know how to play. Like, this game is not beautiful. There's a lot of turnovers. There's a lot of just ugly, like unfundamental kind of good, like basketball that just shouldn't be seen at a professional level. Well, the NBA wants to look better at quality. They got to keep teams together so that they know how to play with each other better. So they don't make a black eye for them as far as how they look with the product. So that's a big part of it right there. So yeah, GM Raptor Freak crew, crazy season upon us. Woohoo! Yes, Cool Cat. Good to see you this morning, Raptor Freak Cool Cat. That's right. Free agency is exciting. I've kind of really got a real buzz to me. It's like each little weird tweet I read from Shams or Woj or Lewinberg, I'm like, yeah, give me that next little kernel of information about the ever-changing landscape of the National Basketball Association. Because this really is the fun part of it. Like, you trade heads and people that like seeing people change teams. Well, this is your time of the year, because this legitimately is when people are switching jerseys. So yeah, but don't get it twisted. The Raptors ain't about switching jerseys on main players right now. No, they're not. Paul B's here. Big day. Trust in Masai. Good to see Paul B holding it down in the state of Wisconsin for the Raptor Freak family in enemy territory. Paul B is crossed the lines and lives in butt country. And we love Paul B here, one of the original Raptor Freaks, somebody that I really, really do value. Thanks, Paul, for sending me that program about the audio cleaner. Of course, I'm not technically adept, and I would probably have to learn that thing pretty good. And I in some ways, like, I'm kind of like, learning a new program. Yikes. You can ask Tom and my experiences with Discord. I did not enjoy dealing with Discord. And in some ways, I hate the program at this point because I just can't figure it out. It is whatever. Leslie's saying, good morning, Raptor Freak family. I'm so sad about Dalano. We didn't give him a fair chance to develop. Well, as I said earlier, this may not be over. This may be a very calculated move to save money and to do it in a certain way and still keep Dalano on this team. It may be that they couldn't keep him if they had to be forced to do the thing with him. And this is the only way that we can keep him on, is by declining him yesterday and hoping he boomerangs back and we get him at a cheaper price that fits better with the whole jigsaw puzzle that we're trying to construct with Jakob and Fred and their big contracts this offseason. So don't give up yet. And he's not totally gone yet. There's a lot of speculation that he's just going to sign with a new deal, and they just wanted to cut out, like, because seriously, the thing to sign him was way more than like the minimum that they can pay him, that they want to pay him. It's kind of like that's what it is. That the way it was lining up, without doing this, without relinquishing him as to make him an unrestricted, they now can sign him for less. So that's what we're thinking is happening right now. So don't give up on Dalano yet. He may still be a Raptor next season. Shane saying, happy free agency day, my fellow freaks. Bam, good to see West Coast. Shane Waters holding it down in BC here on the Raptor Freak channel. Good to see you, Shane. Always good to see you in the chat. Cool Cat saying, and to add more to Crazy Day, an Asian Canadian was involved in ending affirmative actions in the U.S. Raptors going to get punished for this drama. Okay. I heard about the decision by the Supreme Court yesterday. It very much is down lines. 3 of the judges that voted to end affirmative action were appointed by Trump, who was a criminal, and he should go to jail. And those judges should never have gotten their seats on the Supreme Court. So there's a lot of work to clean up bullshit down in the States. Now, listen, the 3 judges that voted against it were the people that, Kagan, Sotomayor, and Brown, which is really, really good that those 3 judges vote against it. Now, this is a horrible thing. The United States is becoming more and more racist. In this recent couple of years, it's crazy what the Trump effect has done to embolden racism and racist practices and racist ideology in society at this point. The Obamas came out with really nice letters yesterday talking about their support for affirmative action and why it is important. It is so important. Well, they've done a couple of things really fucked up down there, like repealing Roe versus Wade and now this. But the one thing about the states is they like having states' rights. And that means states like New York and California, well, they can disregard that shit. And they can still do the practices they want to do. The blue states will disregard the Roe versus Wade overturn. the affirmative action overturned, and they will continue business as usual in some ways. So it is what it is. But it's a dumpster fire down there. And I don't know what the Asian Canadian had to do with any of it. I didn't dig that deep into it. All I know is the states are a dumpster fire and they're regressing. It's like they're in 20 years, what are you going to be in a cave with a stick, motherfuckers down there? I mean, seriously, do you want to go all the way back in time to be Neanderthals? You go ahead and go back in history and go back on a whole bunch of progress that we made as society down there, you idiots. What a dumbass country. Seriously, idiocracy written by Mike Judge is coming true. Mike Judge, you are a future teller. You're like Nostradamus. Idiocracy is coming true in the United States. I'm telling you, it's crazy. Crazy. Cool Cat saying, suppose Spurs decide to go after Dalano and throw more money. Well, that is a true worry. And that's just something we're going to have to figure out. It's hard to gauge Delano's value across the league and how people look at him. I'm sure people value him. They see his body, they see his skill set, and they're like, we could probably figure something out with Banton. Well, this is a little bit of a gamble that we need to make. In some ways, him just getting drafted by Toronto and making history is a lot that we got 2 years out of him. In some ways, it may be good for him to go to another team and try some things down there. And San Antonio would be a great landing spot. I'd love to see him play with Wemby. So if he isn't going to be in Toronto, I'd love for him to be on the Spurs because it kind of keeps him, at least in my house of family teams that I like. But if he could go to Miami. That's another team that could be very, very interested in him. He's been in Miami in the last week, and it could very well be he is a Miami Heat. So we'll have to see how this all turns out. In some ways, I'm not afraid of losing Banton. It's kind of like, you know what? Well, out of all the guys, if we lose him, is it going to really hurt that much? And it may be really good for him as a young man. And then the other thing is, you don't know if like 4 or 5 years from now, Dalano gets more developed on another team, he boomerangs back to us, just like a J.Poeltl or possibly a DeLon Wright will do this summer. So it could be very good for enriching Dalano as a player and his momentum and going up. And we may not have a spot for him on our team, a path for that. He may find that path in San Antonio easier. So I wouldn't get mad at him if he took more money on another franchise. But we'll have to see how this all goes. In some ways, it's a low risk, low kind of thing with us. It's not a real big deal if he walks, guys. It really, really isn't. It may be emotional, but once again, we can't get like that. And understand that, because he's from Toronto, he's been here before, the proclivity for him to return to Toronto if he does sign with another team is very high. Let's just say that. Iceman like Gervin's here. Good to see Iceman like Gervin. The Minutes Police is in the house. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Don't be overplaying your starters. Iceman like Gervin's in the house. Dalano Banton may be back. Raptors coaches Darko, Jim Sand, Jama Malalea, Vin Bavnani, Pat Delaney, Mike Batiste, and Ivo Simonovic. That's right. The Raptors coaching staff now stands at 7. They hired 2 more coaches yesterday. Mike the Bulldozer Batiste. Greek league legend. This man has won 9 championships in Greece. Mike Batiste. He's a former player. He played very briefly for the Memphis Grizzlies in the NBA, but this is kind of our former pro coach on our team. This is the dude who knows what he's talking about because he did it himself. And overseas in Greece, he's a legend. He was inducted into the Greece Basketball Hall of Fame last year. So this guy has a crazy, crazy resume as a former player, mostly overseas. Yeah, Mike the Bulldozer. I love his nickname for one of our assistant coaches, the Bulldozer. So we got Coach Bulldozer, guys. That is one of our new coaches, Coach Bulldozer. So be ready for Mike Batiste. And the other cool thing about all these names that Iceman's put here, they're all right around the same age as Darko. They're all from like 40 to 45. Every single one of these coaches, except for Jim. Jim's a little bit older because Jim's been around the league a little bit. But the rest of them, including Darko's 44, are all between 40 and 45, all of his coaches. The other coach that he hired yesterday, Vin Bavnani, is from the Oklahoma City Thunder. He's been there for quite a while. He's got a good reputation. A lot of people really like him. He's a really good people person, which is a lot like a lot of the guys that he's already got, including himself. But he came across Darko when Darko went to Oklahoma City and worked under Billy Donovan there for a little while. That's when he met Darko. So Darko kind of goes to his different chapters of his coaching career and people that he worked with a little bit, and that's when he brings them in. Obviously, he worked with Mike Batiste overseas in the Greek league, and that's why he knows Mike. Like, he's been knowing Mike for a while because they worked together around 2010. So way back then is when he knows Mike. And then Ivo obviously is Serbian himself and was involved in very early in Darko's career. So he's kind of like, to me, he's looking like he may be like his Nate Bjorkgren kind of type guy, his right hand man, Ivo, with Darko. So, and then Vin worked with him in Oklahoma City Thunder. And, these guys all have connections to him in different places. And it kind of be like, it'd be great if I get a head coaching job someday. I'd like you to come and coach for me someday. They may say that like 7-8 years before. And it's always kind of like in their mind. Now, it's going to be interesting to see how this group is. They're unknown. We don't really know them very well. The bench is going to look really weird next year because there's going to be like a totally different looking group than what we've had sitting on the Raptors bench for the last few years. So it'll be very interesting. Pat Delaney is an interesting coach. To me, he kind of looks a little bit like Nick Nurse. And he's kind of got like this gruff kind of like exterior kind of like, but he's a good guy, kind of smiley guy. He's coming from working with Steve Clifford for many years as one of his top assistants. Now, that's not the most stellar kind of resume. You're like, oh, he worked for Steve Clifford, garbage team in Orlando, garbage team in Charlotte. But still, the experience is there. And the friendship between him and Darko is good. The one thing that Darko needs with this group is loyalty and trust that these guys, especially because of last year, won't come in and mess up the vibes, won't be listening to the coach and defiant. He needs yes men. He needs guys that will do their job and follow his lead and his direction because he's the one who's in charge. He's a captain. And so he needs guys that are very talented, gifted, and capable, but they will fall in line with his vision for the Raptors no matter what. I think that may have been part of the problem with the Raptors last year is some of the assistant coaches didn't agree with Nick Nurse's vision for how they should play. And then and we didn't hear enough about that. So I love that you listed the coaches, and you know what? It's coming together. It's coming together. Some people may say, well, these guys just seem like a bunch of development coaches, but we don't know how he's going to divvy up the responsibilities. One of them could very well be a defensive oriented coach. One of them could very well be the offensive oriented coach. They may get little job titles, and we may find out over time who's actually doing what on Darko's coaching staff. But I'm excited. I'm glad to just see more names. And I like the fact that they all are around the same age, even though that seems kind of weird. I still kind of fully expect a real NBA pro. I mean, it's not that Batiste isn't an NBA pro because he did make it and he did play for the Grizzlies for 1 year. But it was as a hardship player during when COVID, when they didn't have enough players to play. I think that's when he was playing for the Grizzlies. They had to call in people because people were sick. So, and Iceman, I'm going to read the rest of your comments still. He's also talking about the players we added. We added 2 players to our Summer League roster. David McCormick, who's a forward center. He's 6'10". He played for Kansas before Grady was there. So he didn't technically play with Grady at Kansas. But the fact that he's a Jayhawk on the Summer League team with Grady does not hurt. Trust me. I'm sure that they're familiar with each other. And it could very well be a nice synergy just because they're from the same university. Now, Ahmed Kaver, he played in Lithuania last year. He's a small guard, and he's a little bit older. He's 26 years old. Now, I've made a spreadsheet. Says they won't release this stupid-ass Summer League roster and tell me who all is exactly on the team. I've taken all the known names and put them on a spreadsheet, and I will share it with you guys right now in the chat, and you guys can go look at it yourself. Because I'm just sick of this. I'm not going to wait for them anymore. I'm just going to go ahead and throw it together and put it together myself. So you guys check the chat right now. I just put it in. You guys can go look at the spreadsheet of the known people that will be on the Toronto Raptors Summer League. I have 10 names on there right now. So it is a majority of the Summer League at this point. So you can go look at it. I've got their position, their age, their height, their college, their birthplace, and their status at this point with the Raptors for what they're doing. And it's a pretty complete list of everybody who's been brought to our attention. Now, if you have any questions about any of those particular players, I can answer some stuff on their each personality profile of what their player profile is, like what kind of player they are. Seymour saying Draymond met with Dame Lillard, possible trailblazer. Your thoughts? In some ways with like Harden, Kyrie, Draymond, all these big names that are kind of dubious what they're going to do, I don't care. In some ways, I don't care if Draymond stays in Golden State. That's what Steph wants. Steph wants him so bad to just stay and not go anywhere. I don't care if he goes to the Lakers and he joins up with LeBron. I don't care where the hell Draymond goes. It is what it is. In some ways, I don't like to speculate about anybody other than the Raptors, because in some ways, I just want to react to what happens there. So whatever Draymond does, whatever. Lillard is confusing what he's going to do at this point. There's a lot of questions about Lillard. He's really acting crazy on social media in different places, saying crazy stuff. And yeah, it's funny. James Harden said he doesn't want to go to Houston because of what Jalen Green said on Paul George's podcast recently. It's hilarious. I remember when I saw that clip of Jalen Green talking about if James Harden came back to Houston, it would be hard on him for getting touches and maybe a little hard on his progress. Well, James didn't like hearing that. And he's really pointing to that podcast being a real big evidence of why he doesn't want to go back to Houston. See, I'm telling you, these podcasts and people having their opinions out so easy and accessible to everybody at this point are going to screw things up for teams in certain ways. The people that tweet all the time reacting to stuff, you guys need to be careful, because you could hurt your team or yourself and your stock in the NBA by reacting too honestly to goings-ons around the NBA. And that's a tough lesson for Houston right now. Jalen Green says something on Paul George's podcast. James Harden says he doesn't want to go to the Rockets anymore. Yeah, you got to watch out what you're saying on certain things. Chris Boucher is real smart on hustle play, but a lot of people that are running podcasts these days are not. They're really saying stuff they probably shouldn't say. Randolph Phillips is here. Blessings, blessings, and blessings, beloved Raptor freaks. Most informative gang. Yet another anxious moment in Raptors land. 1 or 2 free agents are dealt, and we will breathe again. Any word on Thad? No. And it's really bizarre. Not a tweet, not a single thing on him. I'm pretty sure they declined him, and maybe they just kept it so secret. Our team is like very, very under the table, like quiet. Nobody knows anything. It could very well be they made the move and they didn't even want to like embarrass Thad, so they didn't even tell anyone. Like I could see that happening. The team doesn't want to embarrass Thad, so they're not saying anything about it. Thad doesn't want to say anything about it either because it may hurt his stock, but he knows it happened. And maybe the reporters just don't know what happened because the Raptors never told them. I don't know what's going on with that. The deadline was yesterday. And I'm pretty sure they didn't take the $8 million like with him. If they did, I'd be very shocked. It may mean that they're trading him. I'm going to say this, that if they didn't decline him and he is on for $8 million on our books right now, they're trading him is what will happen. But I don't see that. I really think that they declined him, and I just didn't see anything about it yesterday. It's a really weird situation. Unclear. Very unclear. Nako's saying, I'm pretty glad I got to see that Banton Detroit game live. There you go. Listen, I don't think he's gone for sure, Gerald. I really, really don't. But that was a memorable game. Maybe one of his best games ever as a pro. I think it was his best game ever as a pro in his 2 years so far. So, yeah, that's special. That's the thing you do. You go to games, you get memories. And you'll always have that Detroit jump the border game when Dalano Banton made the Detroit arena his house. Yeah. Monique is here. Good to see Superfan Monique Lawrence. Good morning, everyone. Rely on Masai. That's right. On any day, if we're going to say that, we better say it today on the eve of free agency starting today. As someone said the other day, they can start talking in the evening to people, and then the free agency actually opens up at midnight. And then they can actually sign the deals. They can get them all arranged in this period of time, and then they can sign the deals next week, I think on Monday or Tuesday. So there's steps to it all, and we're going to have to let it all happen the way it's supposed to. But there is highly speculated, and this is the way the Raptors have operated in the last few years in free agency. When they have free agents that they need to tie up, they do it right away. We will see the opposite of what happened with our coaches search with the free agency. I fully expect that we will tie up Fred and J.Poeltl back here in Toronto in the next 24 hours. We're not going to wait on this at all. We should know this by tomorrow night for sure at the latest. So yeah, this will all come down real quick in the next 24 hours. Watch. Seymour saying hashtag rely on Masai. That's right. Rely on Masai to get this done. And I really do believe it. Okay, we see Bradley's here under Anya's name. Good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. Chomp, chomp, chomp. The Raptor Chomp. That's what I'm going to call that. The Raptor Chomp. I like it. Tristan Phillips has got the Raptor Chomp out too. I like that. Good stuff. Seeing the Raptor Chomp this morning. It's like Raptor Foot. When that little dance, Raptor Foot. Raptor Foot. Yeah, we had a dance for a while there. Monique is saying, what do you think Dalano's thinking about right now? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they've talked to him and he understands this whole situation. Think about it this way. This summer, he's been around the team in good faith. He went to the Darko press conference. I asked him personally on Twitch a month ago, are you working out with Koloko? And he's like, yeah, I'm at OVO every day down there with Christian and those guys. So it seems like, look, why would he be doing so many team functions this summer if his agent was saying, you're not going to be on the Raptors next year? Because I think that, once again, I think that we talk to our players and we really kind of give them a sketch of the future for a while. And they say, well, this is the steps we kind of look for your path in our franchise. And then maybe that they're very much known what the Raptors guys are going to do, Bobby's going to do. That it's like Delano's not maybe stressing. Although, as I said, we see Dalano down in Miami right now. Who knows? Maybe his people are like, we want to look at all options and see if we can get you more money somewhere else, Dalano. Either way, once again, this is a risk we're going to have to take. We can't keep everybody. If you want to we can take low risk things like this. It's not a big deal. This is not going to hurt our franchise too much if Dalano walks and takes more money somewhere else. And as I said earlier, there's a high chance that he could go and get a study for overseas or abroad in the States, just like Jakob did with Coach Pop. And then all of a sudden he comes back and revisits being on the Raptors for a second stint later on. So yeah, don't get upset about this too much, guys. Let's not get emotional just because this is our Toronto 45 bus, but realize that there's a lot of different ways to see it go with Dalano. And we'll just have to see and rely on Masai. That's the best thing to say right now. MSJ saying Banton was left to flounder due to Nick Nurse, but his dribble is suspect. Not to say he can't play in the NBA. We're just better signing Gabe Vincent or a capable point guard replacement. Dowtin looking to get run now. Yeah. I don't know exactly. Like, in some ways, they were starting to develop him more, not as a point guard and more as a 2-3 slasher. And he kind of looks better in that kind of way. The one thing about Dalano is his arms are so long, he can finish really well past defenders. And, I like that whole idea of him being like a scorer that mixes up outside shots with attacking the rim. And then his whole transition game is very interesting in itself. He's so quick to get the ball up the court. Now, some people say he's not a very good dribbler, but I would tend to disagree with that because he plays at a higher pace. He has more a chance of causing turnovers. And that's just the risk he takes of that. But he'll get better and better with it. But we'll see. I'm not sure if Gabe Vincent would probably be a better player in that spot as far as like how much he could contribute for sure, since he was starting for the Heat recently. But I don't know. It could be something weird. Like, I don't want to have a team with no point guards all of a sudden. If Fred leaves and we don't have Dalano and we got to have to put depth on that position for sure this month coming up. Seymour saying, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, 40 million for Fred. Well, this is what the reckoning is going to come. It's like 40 million more important, or loyalty to the Raptors and sticking around in Toronto with your young family, not having to move. That's the thing. And some things, people have this whole idea. A lot of people have these weird ideas about what's important to Fred, the priority list of Fred in his mind. What is the most important things in his life? Well, family is very important and probably number one. But, you guys may be surprised the ranking of what is important to Fred, and money may not be in the top 3. And that may really shock some people. Seriously, that may shock some people. I mean, he's making 20 million already. He has more money than he ever thought he would ever have in his entire life right now. How much more is necessary at this point? And is Fred exactly greedy like everybody that hates him thinks he is? No, he's not. And we're going to see exactly how this all goes. 40 million or 30 million to stay home. we'll have to see. Cool Cat saying, congrats on becoming a YouTube partner. Thank you, Cool Cat. It's been a uphill grind, and well, they changed the rules to help me. In some ways, I feel like I'm like the Raptors. They changed the CBA to help the Raptors. Well, YouTube changed the rules to help me too. We'll see. We'll see what effect it has on this channel. Of course, I'm never going to make this channel where you have to pay to see my channel regularly. I may look into extra content for extra, but it won't be anything too crazy. We'll see how it works. I think that in some ways it may just be the super chats are really the thing that I kind of like have around that people utilize. It may be, but I won't ever make it like other live streams where they only read the super chats and they ignore everybody else in the chat. No, that's not my way of doing it. But if people do super chat me, I will definitely give a very, very good emphasis on that comment or question and really do a thorough job with it. So we'll see. I'm going to figure it all out. Once again, my goal on this channel is not to make money. But if I do make a little bit of money somehow, some way with it, that wouldn't hurt. But once again, the whole goal of this channel is to inform Raptor fans on all Raptors topics and everything about Raptors culture as much as possible every single day at 9:30. And I won't mess up that mission statement just to make some money. Trust me, I won't. Alex is here. Good to see Alex. It's been a little bit. Good to see Alex. Finally, we're getting a water boy for Fred VanVleet. A water boy. Who are you talking about? I want to know who you're dissing, Alex. I don't know who you're talking about. Who's the water boy? Fiercely saying, congrats on being monetized, Lex. Yeah, I'm a little scared of it. In some ways, I don't necessarily want to do it. I'm like, things are fine. Why do I want to do this? You might as well. It's all the bells and whistles. It may be kind of fun. There may be cool stickers. I don't know. I will see how it goes. Leslie's here. Good to see you, Leslie Hart. Gabe Vincent isn't a great replacement for Fred. Fred is still better. We can't trade downward. I would agree with this. Well, you can't really replace Fred at all. The only way we could replace Fred is if Lowry came back and replaced him. Wouldn't that be weird? I think that the franchise realizes this. We called him a franchise cornerstone this week, and we really do mean it. And I wish that casual Raptor fans and Fred haters realized how much of a cornerstone. If there's 4 cornerstones to our team, Fred is one of them. And it's really, really important to kind of keep that building of our franchise in the building and not losing it. So, yeah, I think it is a downgrade for sure. Gabe Vincent just does not have the pedigree of championship or the experience or the different things that Fred has in certain ways as a leader for this team. So it'd be a weird situation, and he wouldn't be a proper replacement for sure. All right, let me see. Iceman has taken away your comment, but Kareem has, but I'm going to read it because I can see it. And I don't think he did anything wrong. He might have just hit it by accident. Players are just using Houston for leverage to get more money from other teams. Fred nor Kyrie would last long in Houston with all that losing that they will be doing over the next couple of seasons. Yeah, I agree with this. This is true. It's a weird situation with Houston because they have money they're going to have to spend or they lose it. This is another weird thing about the CBA is not only does it encourage teams to not overspend too much over the luxury tax, they also want them to spend up. And Houston's done this really weird thing the last couple of years for saving money by not having any payroll. All these young guys that are on their team, they can pay them peanuts, and they have no older vets that have big contracts. So in some ways, what Houston has to accomplish in the next month or so is filling up the money that they have in their payroll and paying people. So in some ways, that is the whole thing about it, is that like guys can try and do what you're saying is get more money by playing off of Houston. I get what you're saying completely. Now, if Fred's trying to do that to us, he has to realize the realistic parameters of where he could get money from us. So he can't really use Houston against us. In fact, some people on Raptors Twitter were explaining yesterday that this situation actually benefits the Raptors and Fred VanVleet all kinds of different ways. Because first of all, it's showing that Fred has a higher value. And that's what Fred's reps and Fred wants, is that he's getting offered an $80 million contract for 2 years from Houston. That's really good in some ways. Now, the thing is, he knows realistically the Raptors can't pay him more than really $30 million. So he could easily go get that money. You go get that money today. They put that offer sheet in front of him. All he has to do is sign it. He just has to sign it, and then we're screwed. We won't get him. He'll be in Houston. But that's the thing. When Fred puts that ink on that paper, it's like signing a deal with the devil. And it's not like he wants to do that. I don't think. Like, he has to realize when he puts that qualifying offer, we're not going to match it. And you're done. You're gone to Houston. It's just like that, Fred. So it's on you, bro. You want to put the name on the dotted line for the Rockets, you go ahead. But think about it. It's in some ways signing a deal with the devil. I don't think he'll do that. I think that Fred's too smart as a person that he will stay away from any offer sheets from Houston today, and he will just turn around and deal with Bobby and Masai, and he will get the most that they can pay him within what they're trying to do with fitting the jigsaw puzzle of our salary. And I'm expecting to be around 30 million, and he will sign with us. And other people will say, well, he may sign a long-term contract with us. And some people really like this idea. Let's sign Fred and Yak up to 5-year deals. And if we do that, that may actually be really, really smart for all kinds of reasons. Seriously, it gives them security. We don't have to think about this all the time. And they're just a part of our franchise going forward into time. And some people say, well, they're getting older. Would they get hurt? All this stuff. That's bullshit. That is bullshit. And once again, I pay Fred for time already served and things that he's already done. That man deserves the money. We're going to give him that money. And, listen, once again, these contracts, if they're attractive, we will be easy to trade if we want to in the future also. So, oh, man, it's crazy. The leverage being used because of Houston is exactly right. Iceman like Gervin's exactly right. Now, Kyrie, I don't know how he can use his leverage like Fred, because in some ways he's not an attractive commodity around the league right now. He keeps saying, oh, I have a very particular list about teams that I will go to. Nah, that's bullshit. There's a very particular list of teams that will accept you on their team. And don't try and make it twisted like you are the one who's choosing just very specific teams. No, it's just that not a lot of teams in this league are interested in you, Kyrie. And in some ways, I could see where Houston would be interested in him because they could pay him the money. And maybe he would work well with those knuckleheads on that team. He could be the older knucklehead that teaches the younger knuckleheads how to be an even better knucklehead as they get on in their NBA career. So I don't know. That is a very interesting situation with Kyrie in that. I think it's hilarious that Kyrie said he was going to go see the Suns in the last 24 hours. And the Suns said, no, we don't want to interview you. Don't even come here. They did. They said that. Kyrie said, the Suns are on my short list. I want to go talk to them. And the Suns were like, don't fucking come here. We don't want to talk to you. He's acting like he's going to use the Suns in this way. And the Suns said, no, we don't want an interview with you at all. You are not coming to Phoenix. They said that straight up yesterday. It was hilarious. Space Cadet saying leaking his creepy search history and Fred resigning would be a very rough 48 hours for he who shall not be named. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Fred resigning is going to be hard for a certain section of our fan base that have just, maybe part of why they'll be so upset is because they had a mission and they think they're so close to accomplishing it right now that they're like, just go. We don't care. Just go. And their mission is unsuccessful. Then they get even more upset and temper tantrum as like babies on the floor of the Fairview Mall in the food court. That's what I'm saying. This is what's going to happen is we're going to have little babies laying on the floor out, beside the Sbarro. I want the pizza, mommy. You had your lunch already. I want the pizza, mommy. It's going to be the same shit. These temper tantrum, whiny, crying Fred VanVleet haters when he re-signs with the Raptors for a long-term contract for like 4 or 5 years for like $200 million. And everybody's going to be like, what? Ooh. They're going to freak out. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Get your popcorn ready for that one, Space Cadet. Anya's saying, congrats, Lex. Let's go. Thank you, Anya. Cool Cat's saying, I think Fred is leveraging the Rockets to see if he can get more from the Raptors. He set up office in L.A. for both Houston and Toronto to negotiate. I don't think he is actually, though. Like, seriously, if he signs that paper with them, well, adios, Fred. You're going to Houston because we can't match that shit. He knows we can't match that shit. So it really is on him if he puts that pen to paper with the Houston contract. It's really on him. We're not going to match it. So you sign that contract, Fred. Well, you're going to Houston. You're going to go play with the little kids. You go get in that sandbox down there with the teacher Udoka. Yeah, you're going to be like the old kid, like the high school kid with a bunch of preschoolers in a sandbox throwing dirt at each other and eating dirt. And Fred will be standing there like, what the hell did I do? No! You'll be like, no! That's why Lewinberg's report is saying that he's not interested in Houston. That's what I'm hearing. Fred does not want to play for Houston. So even if they can pay him the most money, well, is he going to go for the money, or is he going to go for what's smart and what he wants in his own life? And it's not to play in Houston, trust me. That all the rumors and people talking about is saying Fred has no interest in playing for the Rockets. There's never been a team that's been attractive for him to go play for, and that it's not likely at all that he will sign this contract today. All the insiders are saying this. Josh Lundberg has got reports on it, and people are just saying, "Oh, you're just a Fred stan. That's why you're saying this." No, Josh has sources. Josh knows people with the Raptors organization, and he probably does have a very much a good pulse on what's happening with Fred and his contract right now. And once again, I'm saying somebody told me yesterday that they have a very reliable source that it's already a done deal and Fred will be a Raptor next season. So nobody should be fretting about this. If you're a pure-hearted Raptor freak like me and you truly love this team, do not worry about Fred. It's all going to work out. Trust me. All right. Let's see. Nako's saying I'd worry about a playoff team giving Fred the bag before Fred leaving for Houston. Well, this is the interesting thing. There's not a lot of teams that have money that they can do stuff with. It's really, really interesting. It's not a very many teams that can land him. It would have to be in a sign and trade. It'd have to be in the kind of thing where we sign him to a contract and we turn around and we trade him and we're getting really good assets in return. So a lot of the people that are making up all this shit, like Tim Chisholm, old SI reporter, are talking about how the Raptors, if they lose Fred for nothing to Houston today, is such a big fail. Well, whatever. He won't do it, first of all. We'll dare him to do it, but I don't think he will. And then second of all, listen, this is just how it is. In some ways, our team got screwed up from our championship partly because of the pandemic. The pandemic absolutely kind of wrecked our core for our championship team with Serge and Mark leaving later that year. There was all kinds of confusion and craziness and messed upness. So forgive the Raptors for being a casualty of the pandemic with their championship core. That, whatever. You can say we lost this person for nothing, and what kind of drain. In some ways, y'all are just making up propaganda to make it sound like we're failure as an organization, where this is not true. So anybody who's porting some bullshit that the Raptors have lost the drain of all their talent from their championship team over the years, that's bullshit. We've gotten acquisitions. We've made trades. We've got new players growing. And our team's in really good shape, considering the turnover we had to do because of all the issues with moving to Tampa, a pandemic, all kinds of shit happened right after our championship course. So forgive us for not being able to hold everything together in that very, very difficult, unique situation that none of the other NBA teams had to go through at that time. Seriously. All right, let's keep going. G saying Gabe Vincent assists 2.5 a game in 26 minutes. I'd rather have Dowtin as a point guard, to be honest. Yes. That's what we want. We want a guy who will set these guys up. And in some ways, Fred isn't even a good enough point guard for that because he's more shoot-oriented than just passing. Well, I want to get a passing point guard in there with these really, really good players like Scotty and OG and Precious. So Jeff Dowtin Jr. is my favorite point guard on the Raptors roster after Fred. That this dude is a real point guard. He can distribute, and he's fundamentally sound and solid and consistent. That's why I love Jeffrey. I want Jeffrey. Jeffrey's the epitome of the kind of basketball player I love. He's fundamentally good. You can count on him. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He's really smart, and he's a student of the game. So I think Jeff needs his chance. Seriously, don't downgrade him because he's been a two-way player. He's come up through the G League. Don't downgrade him like that. This guy can be an NBA pro, and he's going to be a very solid pro. We love you, Jeffrey, and I want to see you get more opportunities this year. Monique is saying Pascal's in Toronto and everyone's freaking out. Where is he supposed to go, though? Monique's like, where is he supposed to go, though? He was on the islands. Now he's back. He went and celebrated Indigenous Day or something. He was at a school with Indigenous people, and he was coming in to say hi to everybody as part of his PS43 Foundation. You know what? Let's go do the Instagram check since it is on Instagram. First, we got Grady. He's promoting a Ameritrust credit union, y'all. So he said, as a kid, the gym was where I could be myself and do what I love the most, play basketball. I'm thankful to hang out and share my experience with the Boys and Girls Club of Wichita, Kansas. A big shout out to Ameritrust Credit Union for making this partnership possible. There you go. Grady will take that bag from anybody. Scott, you want to find out how to get bags? Talk to Grady. This guy's got bags left and right. And Grady's also reliving the moment when he got drafted by the Raptors, and he's showing a picture of when he was wearing a Kansas sweater as a kid. He always dreamed of playing for Kansas. He did exactly that. And now he said, I've dreamed of being here today in the NBA, and everything is just going great. Somebody pinch Grady Dick. He's not sure if he's in reality or dreamland. Koloko has a picture of him with on Chris Johnson hoops, putting up shots. Looks like Koloko's looking good. He's wearing that Raptors shirt. Love seeing you, Koloko, putting in work in the lab. Keep going. Ron Harper Jr. saying happy birthday to Justin Champagne yesterday also. He's saying, happy birthday, brother. Remember to put that hand up. He's got a picture of him trying to guard him from university when they were on Rutgers and Pitt. So they were adversaries in their schools in university, and then they were teammates for a little bit there on the 905 also. Great to see Ron celebrating Justin's birthday too. Justin truly was a loved teammate among many of the Raptors from his time there. Let's see, who else do we got? We got Thad Young doing his normal stuff. His stuff is always about camp and working out and his kids and his business portfolio. Mr. New York City's got a cool picture of him at Kansas State at the free throw line. He looks tough. The ball's on the ground, and the players around him are like, the Kentucky players are like, oh, they're like, oh. You know, I forgot that Nowell is the guy in the NBA in the college that did the really cool play where he faked like he was arguing with his coach. Have y'all seen this play? This is one of the most ingenious indirection plays I've ever seen in my life. And this really speaks a lot to the ingenuity and IQ and trickiness of Marquise Nowell. There's a play where he's bringing the ball up the court and he's yelling at his coach on the sideline, and he's acting like he's so distracted with the coach. But meanwhile, he has a cutter at the baseline coming across for an alley-oop dunk, and he throws the dunk no look while he's simultaneously arguing with his coach, and he totally catches the defense off guard because they see him yelling at the coach and they're having a fake argument. Like they fake an argument, the coach and him, just to get the guy open for the cut. I thought that was hilarious. I forgot that was Nowell that did that play. So he threw a no look while he faked arguing with his coach to get an alley-oop to one of his teammates. Find that clip. It's the most amazing clip. I've never seen somebody do that in basketball ever in my life. And it's kind of like white men can't jump, kind of like shyster play, where it's like we're gonna put one over on you and make you think this, like, you're a mark and we're gonna put one over on you. And that's what he did. He acted like he was fighting with his coach, and then he threw an alley-oop at the same time. So crazy. So crazy. All right, back on the Instagram stories. I wanted to bring that up because I just remember that recently. Yeah, Pascal is I'm not even sure what school this is, but it is in the GTA. The PS43 Foundation coming in, and so he was making an appearance, talking to the kids. He talked about his background and where he came from, and then they gave him this really cool bling. They gave him this like Raptor symbol on a beaded necklace, and it was very cool. He put it around his neck, and I love seeing Siakam in the old school Raptors jersey around his neck, like Flavor Flav has a clock. And it's like, it was so cool. And you could tell they do these, like, indigenous people do the beading, the really intricate jewelry, and it has a bit of that in it. So I thought that was a really cool piece and a gift for them to give him at this event. And I just love Siakam being back in town and making people smile and just doing amazing things for the community, celebrating Indigenous Day with a school at this event. So awesome, Siakam. That's how memories are made. That is such good stuff. I'm so proud of our guys for doing stuff like that. Precious is on the court, and he says, dead legs, clock out. And he just did a windmill slam, a very, very beautiful windmill slam. I love seeing that from Precious. Precious, you go with that windmill slam. So good. Windmill, bam, through the legs windmill. And then also he's wishing a happy birthday to the Champagne twins, both of them, Justin and Julian. And he says, I only got one question. Can I borrow $5? I guess that's a joke between him and the Champagne twins or something. John Lee is on the latest Raptors official Instagram account. He's telling us how to be more healthy in our life. And he's saying just stay active. Just get out there and work your body and stay active. That's the best way to keep your health up and be happy in your life with your health. Is stay active and don't stop getting out there and getting out and into it. All right, there's your Instagram check real quick. Good job, Siakam, getting in that community and doing all that kind of stuff. It was awesome. Let's see. Tristram saying W monetization. Yeah, we'll see. That's not really what I care about. I want to enhance the channel to make it more fun. And if you guys want to reward me, that's all right. I don't care. Tom Duke saying 100%. Let's go, Raptor Street. Yes, Tom knows the climb. He knows the struggle. He knew that I had goals to get to 1,000. Well, I only had to get to 500. Nameless is saying, I didn't see the To The Point interview. Did you? You did yesterday. Well, it's taped. They have to produce it. They have to do all the bells and whistles, and it'll be put together. It was not a live event. It'll be out tomorrow, Nameless, on their channel. So please go to The Point, give him a subscription and a follow, and you will see it pop up on your queue tomorrow when he has it released. So it'll be a drop tomorrow, just so you know. MSJ saying, I want the team to move on in a positive direction. If Fred is gone, I just hope the new coach has a solid plan for offense next season. Go team, not any one player. Too much player worship going on. Yes, and yes, I can't disagree with any of what MSJ is saying here. Of course, we want the Raptors to go in a positive direction, whether or not Fred stays or not. You know, if Fred does take that bag and signs that contract with the Devil tonight, well, we got to adjust and we have options. In fact, it's kind of fun because we'll have to look at who's available at point guard as a replacement, and maybe we can make a discount, and then things get shuffled around, and Bobby and Masai can be a little bit more flexible with cap stuff and getting different free agents. So we'll have to try and brace for the loss of Fred just in case, but I have full confidence. Once again, I rely on Masai and trust in him that he will bring back people that will hopefully fill the void in some sort of way. It may not be one guy. It may have to be two different kind of point guard kind of guys that come in, but we'll be able to pay them better because that money isn't tied up in Fred now all of a sudden. But yeah, we're going to have a solid plan for whatever outcome happens in the next 48 hours with both guys. I think Jakob's pretty set up and it's just going to be done. But Fred, I'm pretty sure he's going to be fine too. I don't think there's going to be any kind of weird surprises for Raptors Nation, unless there's a new name coming in with the MLE or something like that. So, yeah, I really just want positive change, good things coming down the road for the Raptors organization, no matter what, no matter who leaves. Monique saying, thanks for the Summer League spreadsheet again. Yeah, no problem. Let me go look at it a little bit with you guys. It looks like we got, most of the guys we got a couple of 26-year-olds, and these guys both went overseas and have played in other leagues. I think DJ Hogg was in Australia, and Ahmed Kaver was in Lithuania yesterday. Now, the other guys, you can see I got their status. Of course, Grady is our first-round pick. Ron Harper and Koloko are 2-year players. Marquise Nowell is a two-way, and Kevin Obanur is an Exhibit 10. The rest of these guys are all invitees, and they're fighting for the chance to possibly make the team. Now, a lot of these guys will not have a chance, and they're just kind of there to fill out the roster, get some prestige, get something on the resume. It all works real well for them. Some of these guys are interesting. Desmond Cambridge Jr. is the son of Desmond Cambridge, who was a pro from before. He's a little bit small for a shooting guard, but he's a pretty good height for a point guard. But he's really just kind of a guard. Ahmed Kaver, as I said, was in Lithuania last season. And he's a little bit of a short point guard, 26 years old at 6'2" out of Old Dominion. He's an interesting one. DJ Hogg out of Texas A&M is a pretty big forward, 6'9" guy. I like the size on some of these guys. Like Hogg and Mark McCormack are big dudes, and they should be able to throw people around a little bit, and will be a nice look at the four with Koloko on our Summer League roster. So I'm very interested to see DJ Hogg, even though he's an older player. He has some muscle and size to him that could possibly get him somewhere in the Raptors depth chart. If he does really well in Summer League, we'll have to see. He is a little bit older, though. McCormack, 6'10" from Kansas. As I said, he was at Kansas before Grady. But they may know each other just because alumni stays in contact. He's going to be the backup center to Koloko on the Summer League team. He's from the Bronx. Then we got Obanur is very interesting as our Exhibit 10 out of Texas Tech. He's kind of a power forward. And then JT Shimante. He's from Toledo. He's kind of a three-point shooter, 6'7" guy. He's a little bit like Grady Dick, a white kid who can shoot the three. So it'll be interesting to see how JT does on this team too. Now, he's probably the least likely to make our team, partly because, well, you know how I go about this is basically like these guys, if I look them up for Summer League and they don't have a Wikipedia page, I'm pretty sure they're probably not going to make the team. You got to have a Wikipedia page if you're a young player, and get that up so people can know that in some ways makes you seem like you're arrived. if you have a Wikipedia page. So when you come into Summer League, if I see that you don't have a Wikipedia page, I'm going to guess that you're probably not going to make the team. I'll just put it that way. All right, Monique, thanks for bringing that up. Infamous is saying, salute Raptors family. If Banton goes, I will be very disappointed. Looks like Fred is gone, according to the latest reports. I'm not upset. I wish him the best. Well, we're hearing two different things. I'm hearing that it's already a done deal. He's going to be a Raptor. We're hearing also that Houston wants to give him $80 million. Well, if he wants that money, sign a deal with the devil. Go on ahead, Fred. You go on ahead. But I don't think he's that dumb. We got to remember, Fred's a very smart person. A dumber person may take the money and go to a bad situation. In fact, listen, CJ Miles said this on Amit Mann's podcast this week. He said he knows Fred real well. Obviously, they're on the bench mob together. They were teammates together. And what CJ said on that podcast was, y'all, money isn't the most important thing to Fred. In some ways, going to Houston is not attractive to him at all. And he could tell that. He said that straight up. CJ Miles, who's an old teammate of Fred's, knows him, probably still talks to him a little bit here and there. He said that he doesn't think Fred will go to Houston because he knows it's not attractive to him. So that's what I'm saying. CJ Miles saying he doesn't think he'll go to Houston because he knows Fred and he doesn't think he wants to go there. So that's a pretty educated opinion, CJ Miles, as a former player and teammate. So it'll be very interesting to see. Tom Duke saying, what reports are these you speak of, Infamous? Did something happen? Well, he's probably talking about the Marc Stein report. The Marc Stein saying if Fred doesn't sign that on the dotted line with Rockets, then something really weird is happening. Well, that's because your capitalist mind, Marc Stein, is worried about money only. I'm telling you, Fred is not worried about the money like everybody thinks he is. He's worried about winning. He's worried about loyalty. He's worried about like being in a place where he's happy. If he goes down to Houston, he'll be miserable. I already can tell you that. Seriously, this man was a mature young man at the age of 9. Like, seriously, he had to mature at such a young age because of his father's death and all the kind of different things his family is going through. He had no time to be an immature little idiot punk like some of the people on the Rockets roster. So you think he wants to go down there and play kindergarten cop to a bunch of idiot kids? No, he doesn't. In fact, he likes this team, like the Raptors, because he has some guys around his age that he can work with. And if he goes down there and he's the only old head, it's going to be like he's going to pull out the hair that he has, or it's going to go gray like Obama's did during the presidency. Seriously, his hair is going to go gray down there like Obama's if he signs that dotted line down there. So, and there's all kinds of other reasons. Once again, he has a newborn baby named Layla. And, moving with a baby that's under 1 year old is a pain in the ass. Let's just put it that way. It's a pain in the ass. All right, let's keep going. Leslie's saying, how's everyone celebrating Canada Day this weekend? Happy Canada Day to everyone. That's right. It's Canada Day tomorrow. Well, it's business as usual for me. I'm not going to be going out and doing nothing. I know that they've canceled a lot of the fireworks displays because of the fire risk. This summer, the fire air quality once again was very bad in Toronto this week. We had some of the worst air quality in the world. So in some ways, not doing the fireworks this year is good in a couple of different ways. Besides the possibilities of adding more fires and smoke, the loud noises are really, really bad for wildlife. I wish people would realize this with fireworks. They scare not just pets in people's houses, which they really do terrorize dogs and cats, but they also terrorize birds and all the other natural wildlife that's around the city. That when y'all put off fireworks like crazy, you're really, really scaring the natural world. And it's not totally good. Now, that is a reason enough for me not to do fireworks. But a fire threat, that's enough for me right there on top of it. So in some ways, a lot of Canada Day celebrations are not going to be happening. So do it your own way as far as not with fireworks, barbecue. Have a good time. Have a couple of cold beverages and hang out outside with your friends and sit around and shoot the crap about why you love being a Canadian. That's what you should do for Canada Day, and just forget about those fireworks this year. The fire threats are too high, and this country's been on fire for most of the summer. We don't need no more of that. No, we don't. Happy Canada Day, though, to everybody. Yes, for sure. Leslie, such a good Canadian. Elijah Hutchins saying, I'm not happy nor happy at all. Not sure if we are signing Dalano for cheaper or he asked out, but I know I'm not happy. We extended Wieskamp's offer, and Harper's still on the team. Well, let me clarify this real quick, Elijah, just so you know exactly. We did not extend Wieskamp. We extended the deadline to decide on Wieskamp. So Wieskamp has not been decided. He's not official. It's just that we're giving him summer league to play really well and possibly get a spot from his performance at Summer League. So his deadline has been extended to the 18th of July, moved from yesterday to the 18th. So we're just calling more time. He's not officially on the team yet, Joe Easy. Now, Harper, same thing. We have a qualifying offer for him, and it's restricted. So if anybody does offer Ron and money, we can match it and just keep him. But once again, Ron is in the same boat as Joe Easy. He has to play for a spot on the roster this year. That these guys on the fringe that are on the end of our roster, they have to play every year to continue to stay on the roster. So Joe Easy and Ron Harper Jr. are both playing to stay on the Raptors this summer in Summer League and in training camp. I don't think I'm not even sure if Joe Easy will be on the Summer League team. He could be. It's very possible. I didn't put him on there. Maybe I should. Maybe I should put. I should. It makes sense because he's got to play in Summer League to play for his contract. So Joe Easy should be on that too. So I'll add him to that spreadsheet after I'm done. Now Dalano, it's a money thing. The fact that for a qualifying offer to keep him, the way we needed to do was going to be way overpaying him. So we have to take this risk. We just have to. It's our hands are tied. It wasn't a decision made by Dalano. It was a decision made by the Raptors and their cap space and how they got to try and do things with the juggling of the numbers. We can't afford to pay Dalano the number that we need to at this juncture. So our only recourse is to make him an unrestricted free agent. It's the smart business move. And we just got to go a little bit on, hoping and hope and prayers with this situation and see if he still finds his way back here. I know he's a fan favorite and we all love Dalano so much, but it will be as it should be. And in some ways we can't control everything. And if we're going to lose somebody, Dalano is not the worst person in the world for us to lose. Seymour saying can't let off fireworks in Calgary. It's a city ban. As a kid from Scarborough, this sucks, but I'm still going to make the most of Canada Day. And that's right. The fireworks aren't really the most important thing about Canada Day. Canada Day is about celebrating a country of freedom, a place where people from all around the world have been able to come and immigrate to and find a good life. And in some ways, the Canadian dream is more real than the American dream. That, we let people come to this country all the time and they find work in a house and they're able to have a family and they're able to do stuff like that. And I'm proud of that about Canada. In fact, I feel like Canadian dream stories happen more often than American dream stories quite often in different ways on a lower level. Sure, we hear all about the TikTok superstars, the athletes, the musicians that hit it big and make a lot of money. But there's a lot of people in the mid-level here in Canada that hit it big. And that's the people that I want to celebrate for the Canadian dream. Because in some ways, the American dream as it's sold around the world isn't totally true anymore. If you go to the States, it's very hard to have upward mobility. Well, in Canada, they have paths laid out for newcomers to get a good life here. And that's why I believe in the Canadian dream more than the American dream. Yeah, there you go. So be proud of Canada for that. Monique saying, I doubt Gabe Vincent comes here. I'm not buying it, G. Well, that's a contingency plan. That's not a plan that we want to have to do. But if Fred puts that dotted line on there, maybe it is the plan that Bobby and Masai go check into. I mean, there's a whole list of free agent point guards on here. I could go look at it real quick, and I'll tell you who I would rather get if we don't get Fred. See, Gabe Vincent is at that 12 to 14 million range. I don't want that. There's guys lower that may be better. You guys mentioned Dennis Schroeder the other day. What if we got Patrick Beverley to be our starting point guard? They're not designating him as a starter, but he could very well be a starter. Patrick Beverley can fill in at starting. There's some names on here. Even Corey Joseph, way down there. He's on a veteran minimum. If Corey Joseph was the point guard for the Raptors, it wouldn't be a horrible thing. He's very vet. He knows what he's doing. He's a smart guy. That kind of thing could be very, very good for us. So there's options. New York is going to lose Derrick Rose, guys. Let's dream big. Let's put the veteran minimum on Derrick Rose all of a sudden on our team. Would you guys be weirded out if Derrick Rose was our starting point guard next season? There's people on this list. I see Goran Tragic's name here. Yeah, screw him. DJ Augustin. DJ Augustin's an interesting name as far as things. As people have pointed out, that Javon Carter is also on here. Dennis Smith Jr. is on here. Ayo DeSumo. There's a couple of different names on here that are attractive other than just Gabe Vincent. It's just because he's kind of near the top and he's kind of a high level money. But yeah, I don't know who it would be. I really hope it's just Fred. Cool Cat saying the Asian Canadian is the person who brought the case to the Supreme Court. He applied to Harvard, didn't get in. He now attends university. He made a live presser after the case. Well, that sucks. Well, whatever the catalyst was for the decision down there, they've been pushing to have this happen for a long, long time. People have been against affirmative action in the States. Bigots and assholes have been against it for a long, long time. And they've been fighting to get this. It's the same similar thing as Roe versus Wade. There's certain movements and lobbies to try and do this for a long, long time. They just got the settings with the Supreme Court to actually get it through. Once again, I'll say things in the States are enforced federally and locally. And some of the states will not enforce some of this shit. They'll do their own thing, like California and New York. They'll disregard it in some way. Seriously, they'll do that. They're doing it with Roe versus Wade. Why wouldn't they do it with this? And it'll just add more and more to the separation between the red and the blue states, and may lead more and more to civil war in the states, because there's this idiotic divide between this red and blue and, you know, left and right parts of the United States at this point. It's like New York and California are like tips of the blue, and then everything in the middle is red, and doing crazy shit like banning abortion, so people are dying and having to drive across state lines in really crazy situations. Yeah, it's a mess down there. It really is. Yeah, I hate that this person's a Canadian, but know that they may be just the last stick added to the pile that made it happen. They're not totally solely responsible for this. The movement to repeal affirmative action has been down there for a while. Nameless is saying Fred VanVleet will return for $32 million per year, and everyone will be going mental, but I don't respect their opinions. I'm all about that. Seriously. Yeah. You know, whatever the number is, if he gets 32 and Jakob gets 18, I don't know. Be fair. Go ahead and go 30-20, Fred. You don't need 32. Get the other 2 million to Jakob at 20 so he's even with Vucevic. That's just a nice thing to do. Come on, man. Alex is saying, woo, Canada Day feels so good. Big celebration. Fred is out of here. 3 strikes, you're out. Well, you know what? Listen, I don't mean to rain on your parade, but nothing's done yet, Alex. So don't celebrate too early. I've already heard from, once again, a very reliable source. It's already done deal. Fred's going to be a Raptor next year. So I'm going to put my money on that right now. So you go ahead and think that Fred's gone. And when he isn't, and he didn't take the big paycheck to go and play with the kids down in Houston, you're going to find out that everybody on the Fred hater side is wrong about Fred. Seriously. Wayne saying, doesn't it seem like our front office is always in a professional mode? Seems like it is the wrong word, but our front office is most times 2 seasons ahead of the rest of the league. I just love their mindset. Yes, Wayne. Yes. Yes. Recognize the greatness of the Toronto Raptors front office and just how good they are. No leaks, really, really smart, savvy decision making, really thorough like checks on people and sussing them out. There's so many different aspects about our front office that just really instill confidence. You know, Scotty needs to remember that. He's like, well, this team needed a center. They drafted a center, Koloko. This team needed a 3-point shooter. They drafted Grady Dick. You know, they're looking at needs and they're actively trying to fix things. And that is the kind of stuff that keeps players around on teams. Now, if you go to Detroit or you go to Atlanta, you go to Orlando, and you see them kind of like making weird decisions, you don't have a lot of confidence in your front office that they're moving the right direction, moving into more winning ways, because you're kind of like, what the fuck did they just do? They just traded one of my favorite people on this team, and it doesn't even make total sense. You know, there's a lot of that kind of shit. Our franchise instills confidence. And, you know, the way they handled this coach change could have been a real shaky thing. You know, we just lost Nick Nurse, a very heralded, important coach, and this could have been a PR disaster. But the way they handled everything and the way Darko's being accepted and the way things are going, it was a genius, perfect handling for a very difficult, sticky situation that a lesser organization would have fumbled. I'm telling you, the Sixers had what happened to us this year. They probably would have fumbled this in some sort of way and made it really ugly and look bad. Raptors, professional, smart, and doing business the right way. Thank you, Wayne, for your comment. Cool Cat saying our former Canada Raptors now on Spurs is selected for a national squad. So means his knees are good to go. Being at Spurs is a great team for him. Happy for him. Our former Canada Raptors now on Spurs. Okay, so you're saying if Banton does go there, you know, he joined Cam, who is technically still on the Spurs roster, even though he didn't really get to play. I was wondering if they waived him or not. I don't even know what's going on with Cam Birch. He may be around there still just as filler and for a roster spot because he's cheap. I have no idea. But yeah, if he's down there with Cam already, who knows Cam, that would be good for Dalano. And honestly, it wouldn't be a horrible thing to go play with Wemby. Seriously, it could be a very interesting look to see Dalano out there all long limbed with a very long limbed Victor Wembanyama. So I don't think it would be a bad thing for Dalano to broaden his horizons and play for another team for a little while. And once again, because he's from Toronto, his heart is here. The proclivity for him to return to Toronto in years to come is very high. And it could be a similar thing to Jakob. He goes and trains under Popovich for like a few years, and then he gets a little bit more, and he comes back to us as a new product. So I like that idea of that. I really do. Shere Khan saying, good morning, Raptor Freak family. I believe the Raps are trying to get rid of all the cap holds so that we are under the luxury tax and try to fit in the 2 free agents, backloading as much as possible. Going to take some accounting maneuvers. Yeah. Yeah, and trust in Bobby and rely on Masai that they'll get this done, Shere Khan. They're going to figure it out. And it may be by the skin of their teeth, just slightly in there. It could be just like Indiana Jones getting his hat back from that booby trap door coming down. Dun, 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 dun. He's got to reach back under that door before it comes down to get his hat. That may be just how close our salary cap is. Kareem Thomas is saying 6 p.m. Woj is going to announce Fred is back, and all casual Raptors fans will need to check themselves into psychiatric ward. Yeah, you might need to do a little check on any of your personal friends that are Fred haters in your life. You know, you may need to do a welfare check on them later on today when this I think is going to happen. What Kareem's saying right here, that Woj bomb will explode just after 6 o'clock, that Fred is returned in principle to come back to the Raptors, and all these people that are idiots will be like, what? Why are you doing this, Masai? Fire Masai is what they'll say. They'll say, fire Masai. And they'll say, this front office, this team, I'm not rooting for them this year. Some guy said he's going to show up at the first game and burn him, set himself on fire if we sign Fred back. All right, come through with your words now and tell everybody, and then we'll make sure we have the fire extinguishers ready. And yeah, don't go near any speakers while you do this, please. If you're going to light yourself on fire at the Raptors game just because we re-signed Fred today. I love it, Cream. I love it. Haters gonna hate. You can't relate. Monique is saying, as I said yesterday, Lex, I can't wait to see how angry Jama gets. As he's the lead assistant coach, I get to see it up close. All right. Monique, for some reason, is really thinking that Jama is going to be this bulldog assistant coach for us that's really going to get on the refs in weird ways. I think that's going to be Darko. Seriously, we're going to see sides to Darko. It's not just one-sided, I'm a happy guy, nice guy. You can see a competitive fire in him in the games, and I'm sure he's going to be very argumentative with the referees at times, that he will get in their faces and he will fight for what's right for the Raptors. Jama, in some ways, okay, if you know more about his personality and you'll see him doing that, that's great. And I'm sure he will get involved in those arguments with referees as well. And I love that you have a little side spectator sport, Monique, of watching Coach Jama in this mode. So, all right, I see you're going to be watching him up close to make sure he's on those refs, keeping them honest with the Raptors. I like it. Nameless is saying Delano's coming back 1,000%. This is a little hoodwink deal. Wink, wink. Yeah, Nameless, exactly. That's really what I project this is. It makes sense for money, so we can pay him less. Dalano just wants to be in the league. Sure, maybe somebody will pay him a little bit more. But once again, it's a similar thing to Fred. He's already home. Does he really want to go somewhere else for like an extra $500,000? We'll have to see. We'll have to see what Delano's priorities are now that he's an unrestricted free agent. Kareem saying, Iceman, I'm sorry I put you in timeout by accident. I tried to copy your message about coaches. It's all good. I know sometimes you guys with the wrenches will misclick, and sometimes weird things happen. But I'm glad I still got to read his comment. And hopefully Iceman's not, like, you put him in timeout. That's no good, man. Don't put these guys in timeout. Namus is saying, Kareem, what are you doing with your wrench, bro? Misfire, friendly fire, man down. Friendly fire. My bad, folks. I'll put myself in timeout. Nah, don't do that. Don't worry about it. Two wrongs don't make a right. And we apologize, Iceman LeGurban. Kareem Thomas just misfired. And friendly fire. That's no good. Name is saying, haha. Isaac saying, Fred about to sign another contract as a Raptor and compete for the best Raptor ever. How about that for the haters? That's right. That's right, Isaac Campbell. Lay it down, benevolent Isaac Campbell, and let them know the truth. Fred is coming back, and he's going to be going for being the GOAT very, very soon. Take Kyle Lowry's title. Shane Waters is saying, Seymour Pape, we also have a fireworks ban in BC. Can only have to or sell fireworks around Halloween for a week. Shaking my fucking head. I used to love playing with fireworks. In Florida, they had really weird laws about the fireworks. So we'd have to drive to Alabama to get the really good fireworks from there because they'll sell you mortars and crazy stuff in Alabama. So there was a lot of a ritual where I lived in Florida in the Panhandle to drive over to Alabama to Dothan and grab a bunch of fireworks around big fireworks kind of holidays and get the really good ones. So you had to drive to get the good fireworks from Alabama back where I used to grow up. Let's see. Monique saying Houston pays their players too much. They don't pay them enough. They don't have a salary cap. None of those guys are getting paid, so they have a huge glut of money. And that's why they can pay Fred so much right now. They've been under the salary cap. I think their salary cap is less. Their payroll is less than half their salary cap. So they have to spend money. They're a little bit in like Brewster's Millions mode, like Richard Pryor in that movie. He's like, you've got to spend this amount of money, Houston, before this period of time in the summer. So it's actually the opposite. They pay their players nothing, and they actually have to make up the difference because of the new way the CBA is. It's going to be very interesting. Marlon Toby is here. Good to see Raptor Freak Original. Marlon Toby, been in this chat with me for about 2 years now. Always good to see Marlon pop in and say hi. What is Marlon saying? It jumped ahead. Let me get back to Marlon on here. There he is. I wonder how the NBA investigates tampering. With all these talks of trades in the media and where players will go, it's not 6 p.m. I know. Like, specifically James Harden right now. James Harden, Philly got in trouble last year, and they did lose their pick because of craziness in this specific problem. Well, that's the interesting thing about the new CBA. They're just going to allow players to talk with their teams right after the finals are over, and they don't have to wait till July the 1st, which is smart. It's kind of dumb. You have this period of time. Let teams start doing team planning and give the team that has the person already an advantage that the other teams that may be coming to try and get them as free agents. Now, if the team is not getting along with the player can say, I don't want to talk to you. I'm waiting until July the 1st. So I'm not negotiating with you. No, we're not going to talk to you at all. Figure this out ahead of time. I'm just going to wait, and I'm going to be there at July the 1st. You want to talk to me then, you can, and you got to go at me at the same time as everybody else getting a chance. So in some ways, the power in the player is to refuse to negotiate after the finals are over. But I like this new rule because it's kind of dumb that they penalize teams for tampering in this kind of way. Come on. Seriously, people are talking about contracts and things like years ahead. And so many times ahead. It's really kind of a dumb rule, but I do like the way they changed it in the way I just described. Let's see. Cool Cat saying breaking news: Masai names office of the Order of Canada basketball and humanitarian. Wait, I don't understand that. That's not totally clear. Masai Ujiri is named to the office of the Order of Canada basketball and humanitarian. That's good. That's really good. That's a big deal. So he's Order of Canada now. So he's going to have that thing on his Wikipedia that says he's Order of Canada, just like Terry Fox, just like Wayne Gretzky, just like Steve Nash. He has got the Order of Canada, one of the highest honors you can get in the nation of Canada. Fantastic stuff. That's great news, Cool Cat. I'm glad you broke it to me. Great news for Wayne saying congrats to Masai. That's a big deal. That's a very big deal. That's like getting knighted in UK. This is what this is. He's got the Order of Canada now. So he's official now. He's official. Leslie's saying we have all waited for the geese to cross the street. The geese to cross the street. I love it. I can say please or thank you in 5 languages. I eat with forks, chopsticks, and my fingers. Maple and bacon is its own food group. I love this mismatch Leslie is talking about. This is Canada, baby. This is what the city of Toronto is all about. This is the best thing about Toronto, the diversity, the strength and the diversity of having everybody from all around the world living in the city, that we have all the cultures, all the mindsets, all the different kind of practices and different kind of people here, and we all come together and talk to each other. If there's a city in this world that is the most like Star Trek, it is the city of Toronto. That they have everybody, all people from all forms of life, or like aliens on Star Trek, everybody living together on the Star Trek Enterprise. Well, we're the same way here in Toronto, and we are a great standard of excellence of getting along and having harmony among very different people here in this city, the 416. And I'm proud of that. And Leslie just described what this is like. She can say please and thank you in 5 languages. She eats with forks or chopsticks and her fingers. Yeah, I love that so much. That's so Canadian. So Canadian. Proud Canadians. This is like those old ads. I am Canadian. Molson Canadian beer. I am Canadian. Leslie is Canadian. I love that. I love that. Kareem saying, personally, I see Banton with a higher ceiling than Dowtin. Obviously, Dowtin is ready now, but Banton is the future. That's an interesting take, Kareem. I won't necessarily agree with it totally. In some ways, Banton's got to rein it in. Everybody's seeing him as too wild. A lot of people are already giving up on him in Raptors Nation. It's like, who cares if Banton leaves? He's been a waste. Some people have that attitude about him. I don't know. What is it? Was Nick holding him back development wise, or is he just not that very good? We're going to have to find out in the near future, I'm sure. I have way more confidence in Jeffrey Dowtin Jr., and it's just because he's solid. And this dude is going to play. He's going to do such a good job. So I got to disagree with you on this one, Kareem. It could be that Banton does have a higher ceiling, but he may never unlock it. And that's the thing that's scary about it. Jeff is already a known quantity and playing at a certain level. That's more attractive to me than the promise that Dalano may get to a higher ceiling than him down the road. So in some ways, I get your idea of like, well, why don't we hold on to Bant over Dowtin? Because his ceiling's higher. Well, in some ways, Dowtin is at a level that's more helpful to us right now. So, but I like both players, and I'd like both of them to stay. And I would like to fully realize Delano's highest ceiling on the Toronto Raptors. Nameless saying, bro, Masai is a lifer for the Raptors. It's official. He'll be here till he's 75. He did give a tell to us when he's probably going to leave. He said in 20 years when he's on that farm in Nigeria in his press conference at the end of the season. So, there's a limit to it. So maybe, yeah, I don't know how old is he now. He's around his 50 something. Maybe you're right. Maybe it will be around his 70s, 75. Yeah, who knows? I like that. I love that so much, Nameless. I love that so much. Stargate saying, I'm taking the just wait and see approach. Let Bobby and Masai do their jobs. Social media has allowed all these regular Joes to become armchair GMs, armchair reporters, and armchair sports agents. Yeah. Yeah, that's really kind of the way I look at it here. I can speculate till the cows come home, but what's the point? We're going to find out concretely what happens, and we'll just react to it afterwards. So, yeah, this is the time to wait and see. And there's a lot of things pointing to our guys are just staying. Shane saying, agree with you 100%, Cream. So, see, Shane thinks that Banton has a very high ceiling and that he values that over Jeff Dowtin's where he is now. Very interesting. I love the differences in opinions here. Leslie saying the Caesar is better than the Bloody Mary. I'm a Raptors freak. My name is Leslie and I am Canadian. Yes. I can see Leslie at wherever she is walking out the front door and like yelling it into the street to the traffic. In the city of Toronto. She comes out and says, my name is Leslie and I am Canadian. I love the reference to the old ad campaign from Molson there. Fiercely saying Delano needs to work on his finishing. But I do agree. Nick Nurse did not give him enough opportunities. Dowtin made the most of his minutes and was more impactful. Yeah, he was just steady. So every time he went out there, he was great. And that really got him to where he's at with us right now, with him going to get a real contract very soon. Delano, he was stymied by Nick. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I know Delano was hurt for a period of time during the season, and that really kind of hurt things also. But when he was ready to come back, Nick never gave him a chance. Near the end of the season, we didn't see a whole lot of Delano. And I feel like that was a disappointment, seriously, because we need to add more on him somewhere, somehow, in the middle of the season somewhere. Names the same. We are dead to Thad. That could very well be true. I don't know. I think that he has warm feelings in some ways for Toronto and certain things, but in some ways, I don't think he does. So I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm pretty sure that the Thad news happened. We just didn't hear it. Wayne's saying, I think your take is accurate, Lex. They value Fred at 40 million and we offer a little less, and he looks like a loyal, non-greedy person. Yeah, this all works out. It's really a great situation. Thank you, Houston, for offering him 40 million. If he takes it, so be it. That's his choice. If he doesn't, well, that changes everything that these people that are anti-Fred have been saying. It really much does, in a very public way too. It's actually very calculated and very like well put together to fix all this. In fact, it could be part of the work with Clutch. Clutch is like, we see how Raptors Nation, there's a percentage of them that don't like you, Fred. Well, let's fix this. Let's show them. We'll manipulate the situation to make it seem like you're not a greedy person. Okay, I like that. I like that. Okay, boom. Proof is in the pudding. So Fred's back for 30 million instead of taking 40 million in Houston. Well, that goes against the narrative that he's a money grubber, that he just wanted the most money he could get. And in some ways, because they went so high with 40, 30 may have sounded like crazy overspending for him a month ago. But we've been hearing people say more and more like, well, 35, 40. Well, we get him at 30. That may actually help with the old idea that 30 is too much for him like 3 months ago. Well, they've heard the inflated number of 40 now. That may actually make it more palatable when the Raptors do sign him for 30. So there's all kinds of good things about this. We just got to look at the bright side and realize no matter what happens, the Raptors ain't losing. You know, Fred walks, that's his choice. He gets big money. So be it. You chose the money, signed a deal with the devil. If you don't, you pick us and it's loyalty. Well, that works out too for us too. So Blackhawk saying Dalano will come back on a two-way. That's an interesting take. That's a very interesting take. Yeah, I don't know about that, but we could see. We'll just have to see about that, Blackhawk. I don't know. I'll remember that you said that, and I'll give you credit for predicting it if we do hear Dalano on a two-way. Philip Oliver Holes is here. Is that you, bot? Is that you, bot? Is that you? Congrats on monetization. Thank you, Philip. I appreciate that. Swag stickers. Yeah, we're going to figure this out, Isaac. We'll get something cool going on with the channel with this new development. Cool Cat saying Nick Nurse has messed up Fred's reputation with some in the fan base. Gosh. Yeah, let's blame Nick for that too. Nick, you fucked up Fred's reputation in the fan nation by playing him overplaying him. You know, Fred would always say when he was asked about his playing time and why he plays so many minutes, he said, I don't necessarily want to play so much. His coach keeps asking me to play so much. He's like, you know, coach said I won't play as much this season, but I'll believe it when I see it. When he says stuff like that, he's like, you know, he kind of wants to like maybe not play as much. I know he's a competitor. He likes to be out there for all the game as much as possible. But I think that little thing that happened at the end of the season with the Philadelphia series with his injury made him realize like load management to a degree is good for Fred. And in some ways, when he came into this past season, he was very much thinking that way about babying his body and not overexerting, maybe not playing too many minutes. And the plan was to do that, not play him as many minutes. But Fred said in the interview, he said, I believe that when I see it. And when he says that, that doesn't mean that like he wants the time. It means that he doesn't trust Nick to hold him back for minutes, that he's going to go ahead and overplay him no matter what. And that's what he meant when he said that. So that in itself is an evidence that he doesn't control that. And he says, oh, I'll believe that when I see it. Well, that means that Fred doesn't control how much he plays or how many shots he gets. It's all directed by the coach. And that what Cool Cat's saying right there is reputation has been ruined by Nick Nurse, making him look bad. How about that? How about that, Red haters? Yeah, how about that? Tom Duke saying Milky the Cat stickers too. That's a great idea, Tom. In fact, this may be your specialty area for helping me with production on this channel is maybe you can come up with the cool sticker ideas. Because a Milky the Cat sticker sounds amazing. Let's just put it that way. That sounds amazing, Tom. I think that you're going to have some fun with some creative ideas for how we can do our swag on this channel now. Yeah, Tom Duke, you're going to be in charge of swag stickers. We're going to make sure you get the best ideas and maybe even find some really cool ones. I don't know how it works. And it could be some sort of weird workload, but it may be something fun that you like doing as far as acquiring the images to make the stickers and make them really Raptors related in fun ways. I think Milky the Cat sticker is a perfect first idea, Tom. And it is the epitome of why I want you to be in charge of this. Infamous is saying, Fred taking the money doesn't make him greedy. Anyone in our position would take a job advancement plus pay increase in our job. Exactly. See, that's what they'll be able to paint him with. But I won't do that myself. I'll say, well, good for you, Fred. You earned this money, and I'm not going to be a hater. If you really want the money and that's what you choose, well, in some ways it will implicate, like, yeah, okay, I get why he chose that. But also at the same time, I won't be mad at him because in some ways he earned it. And, some people are saying, I wouldn't be surprised if Fred left just because of all the haters and the people mistreating him in our fan nation. In some ways they're like, well, what? No wonder he left. Everybody treats him like shit in the Raptors fan nation. Yeah. So I'm with you. I don't think it makes him greedy. It's what he earns. And if he makes that decision, he makes that decision. I won't diss him for it. It really is that I'm at the point with Fred. Whatever happens with him, I've justified it and I'm okay with it. And we'll move on and have whatever contingency plan depending on what he does. If he's staying, well, hey, that's perfect. That's great. If he doesn't, well, it's his choice, and we'll figure it out. We'll make the best of what we got to do afterwards. So, Cool Cat saying the CBA already causing havoc with our players that we developed. We could be priced out of the market of our own players. I think this is more likely to happen to other teams worse than us. I really do think that our front office has been really smart in thinking about this. I'm not going to paint a horror story that we're going to have a hard time with this. I don't think we will. I think other teams will have a much worse time with this, and they're already feeling it right now. In some ways, a good litmus test for this, Cool Cat, will be, well, are we going to be able to keep our core together through this free agency period? Will Jakob and Fred be Raptors with everybody still together? Well, that will show that Masai and Bobby understand the puzzle pieces, and they were able to do it. So we'll have to see how this works. I know you're worried about Fred in this sentence, is what you're saying, but who cares? We can't do anything about it. In some ways, the new CBA is going to even things out for the league. And Houston is not utilizing a huge chunk of their salary cap right now, so they're going to be forced to do this. So there may be an initial balancing out of things just because they got to get to the set place where all the team rosters need to be with the new CBA rules to kind of have equity and balance. So in some ways, they've got to go ahead and fill that void right now. And this may be just a one-time thing where they have a huge glut of money and can absolutely bid on a player like Fred like this. So we'll see how it all flattens out and settles in the years to come under the new CBA rules. It's just right now is a unique situation where it's all changing and they have to hustle and change to fit within the new rules of the CBA or get penalized, because there's all kinds of penalties for not spending enough and for spending too much. Basketball Rewind's here. Good to see Kenyon. Kenyon had Samson Folk on Basketball Rewind yesterday. Y'all go give him a follow and check out the new content. Having a discussion with Samson Folk of Raptors Republic on Basketball Rewind. What a get, Kenyon. Good stuff. Give him a like and a subscribe. Prediction from Kenyon is Jakob stays. Fred is gone, but in a sign and trade, that is it. That is all. Take care, everybody. Have a good day. Thanks, Kenyon, for popping in and giving us your 2 cents. Sure, I love Jakob staying, of course. And listen, if Fred, it makes more sense. This is what I think is more probable. First of all, Fred staying with us. I think that's the most probable with Fred. The second thing that's most probable with Fred is a sign and trade, very much like Kyle Lowry. And that will make us get some assets in return, like Kenyon's saying. So I think that's more likely than him just straight up going and taking the money and going to Houston, because that Houston situation is not attractive to him. He wants to go play for the Bulls, and we do a sign and trade with the Bulls, and we get a Bulls player in return, not named Lonzo Ball. So it could be something like that. So I think it's most likely he stays. Second, we do a sign and trade where we get something back for him. Or third, he does take that ultimate big, huge contract and he goes to hell in Texas, a place called Texas that is hell. It is going to be hell for him. Seriously, I'm going to tell you that right now. It's going to be hell for him if he goes to play for Houston. It's just going to be a hellish place, a landscape, a horrible state that is not in his political mindset. Seriously. In some ways, that may be part of the factoring for Fred. Fred is very left-leaning, a sociologist, somebody who really cares about humanity, and he's an intelligent guy that understands politics and things are going on. You think he wants to fucking go to Houston and raise 2 little girls in that state with the anti-women laws there and the anti-this and the anti-that? No, he doesn't want to put any roots down in the state of Texas, that messed up, stupid-ass place. So in some ways, his politics may be involved in this also. That Fred is very much a sociologist, somebody who is very, progressive. And the state of Texas is not progressive. Let's just put it that way. Let's see. Uh, Cool Cat saying Houston is tax free. He gets to retain some generational money for his family. A good business decision is to take the money for 2 years and then get another contract. Emotional decision to stay where he has grown and developed attachments. Either decision, I support Fred and what he decides. You go Raptor free, Cool Cat, just being a good fan and a good person and just loving Fred no matter what. It's his decision. And we are not like one of these people is like, well, you go, you're dead to me. Not in this situation. This is a different situation than Nick or Vince in different situations. This is a situation where Fred is at a place, rightfully so, where he gets to decide his future. And I won't get mad at him either way. Now, your descriptions of Houston, well, that is a benefit. Like the tax-free state of Houston is attractive in that way. So I don't know. I don't know. The other thing that's a detraction is there's a lot of talk, and Greg has said this on his channel, that if he does go to Houston, he may not be there for very long, and they may jerk him around, and they may use him as a trade piece to do something else. And then his future is even more uncertain. It could be that he goes to a better situation, but it could also mean that he goes somewhere he doesn't want to go and he doesn't have any control over his future. So in some ways, he has to trust the Rockets organization to actually keep him around and not turn around and swap him once again all of a sudden. And he may not trust them for that. Let's just put it that way. Isaac St. Tom and Milky D, cat stickers for the win. That's right. That's right. I love this. Oh, man, this enthusiasm. All right, I'm going to figure this out today, hopefully, and be able to get you guys on board with this very soon. If not tomorrow, maybe Sunday. Blackhawk saying it's not just the Rockets for Fred VanVleet. Lakers, Bulls, and Magic can be in play too with the Raptors. Yeah, but the difference between those teams and the Rockets is the Rockets can just outright take him. They don't need a sign and trade. Those other teams need a sign and trade to do any maneuvering to get Fred. So in those cases, we have to sign him to a deal ourselves and trade him to those teams, getting assets back from them. That's the only way it works with them because they're hamstrung. They're not like the Rockets. The Rockets have some crazy ability to do whatever they want because they, like I said, they have no payroll. They have so much leeway to go in all kinds of different directions. And that is why, as we said earlier, a lot of people are using them as leverage in their situation right now. Monique saying Fred over everything. I'm all about that. North over everything. I'm all about that too, Monique. I can get behind that. Iceman saying at Kareem, no worries, man. This happens. We have misclicks sometimes, and people get unfairly punished. This is just like in society. People get unfairly punished. There's people in prison right now that have no business in there, that they've been railroaded in there, maybe by dirty cops that threw drugs on them. So, yeah, we don't want to punish people unfairly, especially the minutes police, putting the police in jail. Whoa, that's like Derek Chauvin. Yeah, Iceman's not like Derek Chauvin. He's awesome. Top saying, when Fred takes the bag from Houston or wherever the bag is highest, do you think we start a retool and trade Pascal or continue on as a mid to below mid team with pursue Tyus Jones? Why do you think Tyus Jones will come and fix things? Top, I think you're being overly negative in this situation. We're a mid team by record last year. But that was really, we were anchored down and held down by all kinds of misery and confusion and negativity and toxicity on the down low. And we still had a 500 season where we were 41-41. We get good vibes going. Seriously, man, we could be a 50 to 60 win team next year. So check that real quick. We're not going to be a mid or below mid team next year. You go ahead and think that and be wrong when we do really well next year under Coach Darko. So remember, I said this. And remember, the coaches change will change the roster. And our roster is really, really good. Masai and Bobby aren't dumb. They look at our guys and they see these guys are blue chippers. These guys are really, really good 5-star stud kind of athletes. And we know these guys are good. We're going to get this together and figure it out. We just need a coach that will use them the correct way. And Nick wasn't using them correctly last year. And it's part of the reason why I got to this situation. So Darko, if he makes a system that caters to Scotty, caters to OG, caters to Pascal, caters to all of them, and gets more out of them, we could have a way better output next year with our wins. So hold that opinion, and you can think maybe we're going to be below mid or mid next year, and we'll just see who's right. We'll see. Come talk to me about this in December. How about that, top? We'll see how we are in the first half of the season. Anya's saying, whatever Fred does, I'll be happy for him. I trust his organization 100%. Time will tell. Well, today's the day. We'll find out later tonight. Free agency Friday, baby. Let's go. Freaking out. Wow. Monique saying, we still waiting for the Marquise Nowell inductory. They're not going to do that, Monique. They know he's here. He's just a two-way. It's not like he's Grady. He's a first-round pick, and he's going to be on the roster, and he is in the plans for years to come. Marquise Nowell may not even make the team by the end of this summer. He could be cut by September. So they're not going to do an introductory presser for him. They just don't do that for undrafted two-way players. They didn't do that for Ron last year. They didn't do it for Justin 2 years ago. So they're not going to do it for Marquise. Wayne's saying, is Top a troll? It's obvious what you're trying. Lex or us ain't biting this nonsense. Top's been in and out. And listen, once again, we have to allow for differing opinions. I'm fine with Top what they're saying. I just don't think they're going to be accurate. They could be, though. That's the thing. It could very well be in December. And Top's coming to see, I told you, Raptors Street. This isn't going to work with this coach either. Well, I don't believe that's what's going to happen, but maybe Top thinks that's going to happen. That's fine. But Top's been a great contributor to this channel for a while now, and we value their presence, even if they're a little negative and not totally towing the line of being a positive Raptors fan. It's fine. I've seen enough from Top in the past to know that their heart's in the right place, and that maybe they're just bringing a little like their own slant of what they think is realistic for what happens with us. Well, I'll take that challenge, and I'll say we'll see where we're at, and we'll see how it all goes. Seriously, I think we're going to be very good. Very, very good. Isaac saying, ESPN firing Jeff Van Gundy to save money, dumpster fire media. Well, this is the whole trend right now. Like I said, a lot of media writers are getting fired because AI will be able to write the stories now. Big corporations like ESPN are like, well, we don't need to have these people around doing this anymore because we'll just make the computer do it. This is part of it. Yeah, there's a lot of cost cutting going on in media places. They just want to get profits up, well, by cutting out employees. There's all kinds of that going on everywhere. Monique saying, when I was at Real Sports, I saw one fan with a Grady jersey already. There you go. Seriously. Yeah, they're a hot seller, I'm sure, right away. There's a lot of people that want to go get them right away. That Dick 1 jersey. Raps Love saying, Banton can't shoot. He's useless if you can't shoot. Well, that's not totally true. He's got an okay three-point shot when he's on. I've seen him. You've got to understand, Raps Love, did you watch 905 in the last 2 years at all? Banton can get fire, and he can get going, and he can be the leading scorer, and he can absolutely dominate a 905 game, a G League level game. So there's some promise in him. He's definitely in between G League and the NBA. He may not be fully an NBA player, but he's definitely not just a G League player. He's better than that level of talent. So yeah, that's just a slam on him. You say you can't shoot, that's bullshit. I've seen that man get better with his arc. First of all, when he showed up with the Raptors, he had no arc. He shot it line drive towards the front of the rim. And I was like, that's fundamentally not good, Dalano. Don't shoot that way. You get a better percent chance of the ball to go through the hoop by raising your arc up high. This is basic basketball 101. You shoot higher with a higher arc. The arc of the ball coming down at the rim is more likely to go through the rim than if you shoot it directly at the rim. And when Dalano showed up on the Raptors in his rookie year, he was shooting the ball directly at the rim. Well, he adjusted and got better and raised the arc on his shot, and he had instant results from shooting better from three. He's had games at the 905 where he scored almost 40 points. So I'm not agree with this. Seriously, he's a better shooter than when he showed up because he adjusted his arc. Elijah's saying, okay, that sounds much better with Dalano. The news headline just seemed messed up. Yeah, well, we can see the headline, and the news is like, okay, we're not bringing him. We're bringing these other two guys, but not him. What the fuck? I get it, but it's all part of the deal. It's just like what's happening with James. You could think, okay, James is opted in. He wants to be with the Sixers. No, it's the opposite. He's opted in so he can be traded. So sometimes these moves can be confusing. They may seem like they're one thing, but they're actually the other. And that's the whole case with Dalano. This move is to save money and to maybe pay him less. And it's smart work by Bobby Webster. So Monique saying, happy Indigenous Month to those who celebrate. And Darko was learning about it and in his first Raptors event. That's cool. That's very cool. Yeah. Happy Indigenous Month. And I think everybody should celebrate it. It's not to who celebrates it. We all celebrate it. Even when we don't actively celebrate it, it's for everyone to celebrate. And especially in this great country of Canada that has not had the best history with Indigenous people in some ways. It's one thing, if we want to come to reconciliation for some of the injustices of the past, Canada has to get real with itself, just like a human being would get real with their problems in life. Like if you have an alcohol problem, you got to look yourself in the mirror and come to grips with it and be honest about it. In some ways, we got to do the same thing about our history with the indigenous people on this continent. And reconciliation is really important. In some ways, the government of Canada is holding things up for reparations and reconciliation with these people with lawyers. And some of the money you spend on the lawyers could just gone to the people for what you were doing. In some ways, you're spending more just for the lawyers and holding this up, government of Canada. You should just do it. Do what's right, especially in this particular month where we're celebrating indigenous people here. So yeah, Canada, look yourself in the mirror, own up to your mistakes, and get better, because this is the only way to get things right. And once again, if we can do this as a country, we can be a good example for shitty countries like the US that need to do the same thing. So I like Canada being a world leader on this kind of stuff. And let's be honest with ourselves about the history of the colonization of North America and people coming here and how Canada came about. Tomorrow is a very touchy kind of holiday for some people. Some people say don't honor Canada because of the bullshit with what happened and what Canada stands for. And some people say, well, I'm proud of it, like I said earlier, because it gives people opportunity to come here from all around and make themselves into something with a life, with a family, and all that kind of stuff. So it's a very dual-edged sword. I think it's easy for Canada in some ways to just do the right thing and stop holding against it. Let the lawyers go back and just do what you're supposed to do. Make things right, because you're already expending money to fight it. Why don't you just spend that money to make it right, Canada? Jeez. Oh my gosh. All right. Mugabe saying, good morning, Raptor Freaks. You're so right. I come to this country and I get Red Seal and automotive technician, and I buy a house, and it's not easy, but I work hard and I thank Canada. So happy Canada Day. See, there you go. There's the epitome of the Canadian dream right there in Mugabe Lenin, who immigrated to this country and made a life for himself. Something that makes me tear up, seriously, to hear a story about somebody who wanted a better life, who came to this country and carved it out and did the hard work and made it happen. That's not always the case and all around the world in some ways. And that is a reason why, if you are proud to be Canadian, that you celebrate Canada Day tomorrow. You understand the history of the dark part that we are not proud of, and you don't hide it and say that it doesn't exist. You have to understand the good and the bad of Canada and celebrate both parts, because Mugabe Lenin is the epitome of some of the best about Canada right there, right there. And you keep going, Mugabe. We're so proud of you, and you are a true Canadian because you did the Canadian dream, my friend. Monique is saying, happy for Jeff. Not worried for Ron, just a bit, though. Well, Ron's in a good place because he's been working really, really hard. He's been very visible with the Raptors organization around the team this whole summer. He's bought in. He's very much, he's got it in his favor. He's a shoe-in. But if he doesn't perform to a certain level, somebody could come and steal it from him. So it really is something where he's got to be competitive with the other guys and stand out so that he makes his spot. So I think he will. I'm a little bit worried myself, just like you, but I think he'll do it. He has every advantage in a lot of ways. Being familiar with everybody, already having time served, that'll all help. All right, let's see. Top saying, Boucher, hang on, I want to make sure I read this. Boucher has underperformed statistically since 2020-21 breakout season. Should we look to move that contract to provide more bench consistency, since Precious is a wild card as well? All right, I want to break this down fairly and give it its due respect. Listen, you can't say that about Boucher. That's a silly fucking thing to say. First of all, that year that you're quoting was the Tampa year, right? That was the Tampa year you're talking about. Well, we had injuries like crazy that year, and Boucher had to step up as one of the guys who didn't get COVID as much as the rest of them. Him and Malachi Flynn had career kind of stats because they were thrown into having to be there as the top guys. So you can't look at Boucher's statistics from the Tampa year as a baseline for where he should be. That's fucking stupid. You can't do that. You have to look at the context of why he performed at that level to get those many shots and do that. It's because we didn't have anybody else and we had to rely on him. Well, guys got healthy. We came back to Toronto. We had more of the lineup. Of course, his numbers are going to go down slightly. But once again, and I'm not going to say you're a casual top, but people that don't totally understand basketball got to stop looking at the stats as the end all be all. that Chris does certain things, and maybe you need to look at the stats per minute and not start looking at the overall like cumulative stats, the total stats or the average stats, and look at how much he's playing in per 60 minutes. Look at those stats. Now, if you want to look personally at Chris's journey, you can look at how Nick Nurse treated him as whether he was successful or not. And a lot of times he'd get in the doghouse and he'd have to sit out. His minutes would be cut. So really, once again, I can blame Chris's downgrade in production over the last couple of years on Nick, because Nick is the gatekeeper. Nick was the one who decided who got to play when and where. And Chris didn't get as many minutes as Tampa because more guys were healthy. So it's really easy to figure that out. Now, he's an amazing player. He's a unicorn kind of player. There's nobody else in the league like Chris. He's very valuable. And he's Canadian, and I love him on this team. So top of top, this is like, you're not getting strikes, but you've had 2 negative comments in a row. And we don't like getting rid of our Canadian guys. You can think that this, and also Precious a wild card. I don't think Precious is a wild card. I know exactly what Precious is. Precious is a good player. He's going to get better and better. In fact, he may be very similar to Scotty. He could make a huge leap this year with Scotty at the same time. And all of a sudden, we're a very good playoff team, because all of a sudden Achiuwa and Barnes are playing like this at crazy level that nobody like totally forecasted. These guys are going to make jumps. Precious isn't where he's supposed to be right now. He's going to be even better. And Scotty for damn sure will be better. So yeah, I don't see him as a wild card. I see Precious as he's a slam dunk coming up. And I literally mean a slam dunk coming up. And yeah, so your description of Boucher and Precious, and you're talking about moving them to provide more bench consistency. No, the bench consistency will come with the new coach who trusts the bench better and gets better stuff out of them. Nick didn't trust the bench. He didn't play them. So how's there going to be any bench consistency if the gate isn't open for them to come in? So I'll just describe it. That's the way I look at everything you just said there. Precious and Chris are valuable bench players. Precious is a starter. He could be starting for us this year. And I very much value both those guys. Chris is a very, very good player that a lot of teams in this league would want. We got him on a very good deal, a very, very low deal. And he loves being in Toronto. He doesn't want to play for anybody else. So why would we trade him? So, yeah, there you go. Paul B saying, fight for what's right to party. That's what he wants to do. He's a B-boy. This man's from the school of Ad Rock, and he's ready to fight for his right to party. David's here. Good to see David, Raptor Freak Trivia Champion for Season 2. David Saborin, the man of the hour, the man that we will be celebrating on July the 15th at the Raptors Freak Meet and Greet at Real Sports, 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon. David will be there to get his trophy, the Vince Carter bobblehead. Come to the event so you can see David in all his glory. Get showered with admiration and a cheap knockoff Mr. Big Vince Carter bobblehead. Well, yeah, you could be there. The Raptors Street Meet and Greet, 3 p.m., Saturday, July the 15th, Real Sports Bar and Grill. Yeah. Laugh out loud. Bye, Fred. 84 million, 2 years. Y'all tripping. Well, David, I've outlined this a couple different ways already on the stream. If you want to go back and listen to what I said, I don't think Fred's going to sign that deal with the devil. In fact, he may not go anywhere near Texas or Houston, and he'll just say, no, I'm good. I'm not going to sign your deal, even though you can pay me the most money. And that's going to make all kinds of views on Fred go right out the window. Right out the window when this happens later today. We'll see what happens, David. We'll see if he wants to take the money, sign the deal with the devil, and go play with the kindergartners and be getting his gray hair just like Obama by the time the season's over next year. Seriously. Leslie's saying on the low, it seems like Masai wants to put the bench mob back together. We developed all those guys. Now we want them to come on home. Yeah. It's like sending your kid abroad for school. You're going to go away for school this year, Johnny. We're sending you to France for a young man named Victor. Oh, okay. I'm going to France. Voulez-vous coucher avec moi? Don't say that, son. That means will you go to bed with me? It's just a song I heard on the radio, Dad. It's the only French I know. Yeah, no. I mean, listen, what if we get Norman back all of a sudden? We're hearing rumors this week that the Clippers are shopping Norman. Now, I don't know if Norman's the right fit for where we are right now, But we could get DeLon back. That would be fun. I'm very high on getting DeLon Wright reunited with his Raptors. If we have an ambiguous situation with our point guard because of Fred's decision tonight, I'd like to see them try and trade for DeLon Wright somehow, some way. And Washington is kind of clearing house and changing the identity of their team. They may be very ready to trade DeLon back to Toronto. So that's the thing I'd kind of like. And that goes along with what you're saying here, Leslie. DeLon Wright, bench Bob member, returns to Toronto. I would not be upset for this year. I think it'd be a perfect fit of the right experience, the right kind of like length and height to play at point guard with our guys. And the familiarity is perfect too. So there's all kinds of good things about a right return to Toronto. Blackhawks saying Rockets not giving $40 million to Fred. That's just a rumor to start a bidding war. No, they could. They could very much do this. As I said, they have to fill this hole. They are Monty Brewster from Richard Pryor's great 80s movie right now. They got to spend money by a certain time. They got to spend that money. If they don't get it, they're going to get in trouble. So they are very much interested in getting a big contract like this. If it's not going to be Fred, maybe it's not going to be James Harden anymore. They're talking to a couple different people right now about throwing a bag at them like crazy. Brooke Lopez is a big rumor to possibly be a Rocket next year. They could pay him a lot of money. They have a lot of power with money, the Rockets, and that's what they're flexing right now. It may not be Fred, though. We'll have to see. And it may be Fred decides he doesn't want to even talk to them. Seriously, I can see Fred's like, I don't even want to go to Houston, so I'm not even going to look at them. You sign that paper, Toronto won't match it. You're going to Houston if you sign that paper, Fred. You know that. They're not going to match that number. You know that we can't. We're financially hamstrung, so we can't match that number with Houston. You sign that paper, you're going to Houston. That's the decision, Fred. Basically like that. David's saying, good. The Van Gundys are exhausting to listen to. I kind of like Jeff. Stan gets on my nerves. But for some reason, I like Jeff Van Gundy. I don't know why. Trevor's saying, today we're going to see the cow jump over the moon. We're doing nursery rhymes now, Trevor J. Oh, what is that face? That looks like sad Pistons fan face or something. I don't know, redhead face. Shane Waters saying, who will be the most disappointed when Fred returns? Let's do a poll. David, Tabatov, Alex, or Infamous? I don't know who's going to be most disappointed. I'm sure we know who it'll be. It's the guy whose porn search was online the other day. I think it's going to be that guy. I think that old Robert is going to be the one who's going to be the most disappointed for sure. David's saying, Tabatov, I could care less. I just like to see our young core get minutes, have fun, and play ball. You know, we just want the best for our guys to develop further. And hopefully our new coach is going to come through with that development promise better than his predecessor. David's saying, I've seen enough fourth quarters with 6 minutes to go run by Fred for a lifetime. Well, what if I told you he's better when he's not so run down and he's not slightly injured? And if we can load manage him a little bit like we did Kawhi, that maybe we get a different output from Fred this season, a more efficient, reliable clutch performer because he has legs under him. He's not huffing for breath so bad in the last 2 minutes because he's played almost every single goddamn minute of the game. So I'm telling you, a little bit more better management of minutes. Fred can be a completely different clutch player at the end of games because he has his legs and his wind. So Paul B saying impression request. All right. Alan Arkin breaking the news to sour fans about Fred being back. All right. Where's my phone? I want to do this right. Oh, it's over there. Let me get it. Hello, Robert. Yes. This is Alan Arkin. Yo, no, you don't know me. No, I'm an actor. I've been on TV for many years. No, you don't know me. No, I wasn't in that. No, you don't know me. Listen, I have something important to tell you. The Raptors are re-signing Fred VanVleet. How do you feel about that? No, you tell me. You tell me how you feel about that. Oh, what? Are you crying? Are you crying? Come on, be a man. Be a man. I'm sorry. Don't get mad at me. I just tell you the truth. Masai told me to call you personally. He hired me as a cameo. Yeah, he thought it would be fun for my delivery to tell you this bad news today. Yeah, he told me. Oh, he had one more thing he wanted me to tell you as part of the cameo. Yeah, fuck you. Yeah, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. All right, bye. What a great request. I can kind of do Alan Arkin. I don't know. That's funny. All right. Thank you, Paul, for the suggestion. Tom Duke is laughing about it. He's got the butthole face. He's got angry red face, too, in there. Wow. Good stuff. Abdul Loden. Good to see a new name in here at 9:30 a.m. every morning, talking Raptors with you guys. Interactive stream. I read every comment. I love the Raptors so much that I'm here every morning, 9:30. Houston is one of the most multicultural cities in the world. It's also one of the fattest. Did you know that? One thing about Houston is that they drive everywhere. Like if you're sitting in your house and you want to go to the store could be across the street. Well, you get in your car in the driveway and drive literally across the street. You wouldn't even go and walk across there because you might burn off some of that fat. Because Houston is a very, very fat city. So, listen, there's a lot of multicultural cities in the United States. But forgive me for not really thinking of Houston as one of the top ones in the city. I understand they got NASA, they got different companies and stuff like that, but it is still Texas, and it's not very attractive in a lot of ways. New York City, Toronto, these are real melting pots. And in some ways, what happens in Houston that's different than what happens here is a certain a level of assimilation is required to get along in Houston. You come here, you better speak the language. God damn it. You come into Houston, you better speak English. That kind of shit is going on around there. So it's a little bit less tolerant as a multicultural city. And there's an expected assimilation to American culture there. Yeah. Now, we could ask Mugabe, who came to Canada, if he was allowed to keep some of his cultural integrity and like beliefs and practices here in Canada and be tolerated. In some ways, in the States, when you move from other countries, you're expected to become more American. Speak American, damn it, or get out of my country. That kind of shit. So there's a little bit of a difference there. But I will agree, there is a multiculturalism to most of the big cities in the United States. But are they known for that, really? They're known for being fat, is what they're known for. David's saying, so, Paul, why do we want Fred back? I've never understood this. All right, David, let me lay this down. Why do you not understand this? I've told you, he's a cornerstone to our team. He's absolutely one of our most important players. He's the brain of our team. I've said that whatever was Kyle was downloaded into his hard drive and is in his hard drive right now. So if we lose Fred, we're actually kind of losing Kyle also at the same time, because Fred kind of is holding the Kyle stuff for us right now. And that if we lose Kyle, lose Fred, we lose completely Kyle's legacy in some ways, because it has not been given down to Malachi in the proper way that it's supposed to. So in some ways, we need Fred to hurry up and maybe train Marquise Nowell or somebody else on how to be that dog that Kyle Lowry was. The other thing is that casuals think, okay, he goes away and this will be addition by subtraction. Well, that's bullshit, because you don't know who will step up and take the shots in the minutes from Fred and if they'll be any more effective or good as he was. It could be that somebody gets more shots like Scott, and all of a sudden Scotty's less effective. And all of a sudden, there's a perceivement that Scotty Barnes is chucking it too much and all this stuff. And then they turn on Scotty just like they turn on Freddie. You see, it's tough to be the guy who carries the team on your shoulders, because you win and lose on their shoulders, and you get blamed for failure and you get success when you get success. In some ways, Fred has had a mix of both. And, that's the thing. Nobody tolerates any kind of failure at all. So if he's the one who dares to take those shots, he's going to fail sometimes. That's just the end all be all of basketball. It is only 50% in, 50% out usually, and maybe even less. So that's what I'm saying right here. You got to understand that C goes on his jersey for a reason, and we don't want to lose our captain. You're going to see something happen in Boston this year that's really not good for them with Marcus Smart going to Memphis. That was a horrible trade. And Porzingis may look like an addition to go up, but it's not. They're going to be a worse team next year. And a lot of Celtics fans are going to regret that deal, and they're going to be mad about it, because they're going to realize their captain, their C, and their Hart and their Lowry VanVleet type of player is gone. So there's your little guinea pig experiment. And when we lose Fred, we're going to see it ourselves, but I don't want to see that, God forbid. We'll let Boston see it with Smart's absence this year. And you'll know and watch what happens with them, and David. And I'll say, look what happened to Boston with Smart leaving. That's what would have happened to us if Fred had left, is what I'm going to say right now. So there you go. I hope that explains it a little bit in a lot of different ways. It's not just the stats. He has intangibles that are very essential and important to our team and our culture. And I want to keep those intact and in Toronto. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, Paul B saying, because my 3 VanVleet jerseys would be outdated if he left. Selfish motivations, Paul B. But I get it. Stargate saying Top is a troll. But you know what? Even if he's a troll, we have some pet trolls on this channel. We don't mind. We have different people trolling this channel all the time. It's just a level of trolling. It can be acceptable at certain degrees. And I have no problem with it to a degree. I'll kick him out if he's a problem, but he's been around for a long time and he's never been overly too much a problem. I gave him kind of half strikes earlier for just being negative, but he's not being totally toxic. He's being very like matter of fact. He's like, well, what about this? What about that? He's just having different viewpoints. And once again, it's not a place where everybody has to agree with me. Top's allowed to have these viewpoints here, and I won't get mad at him because he's doing it in a constructive way and he's not being toxic. How about that? So that's part of it right there. We do allow a bit of trolling. Trust me. We like trolling. Trolling's kind of fun to do to a degree. You know, even our good fans are trolling to a degree on here. Seriously, even our good fans troll on here to a bit. Nameless, hello. Leslie saying, Abdul, Toronto is the most diverse city in the world. Why can't let people live their lives? We speak different languages, different religions, different orientations, but we're all human. That's it. You know, I don't want to get this like between Houston and Toronto kind of multicultural thing. I want to encourage multiculturalism everywhere around the world, every city. And I want Houston to be more and more multicultural. So it's not a competition. In some ways, we are more accepting, though, of allowing cultures to keep their identity in our city and you can be like where you're from and kind of do all the same activities you would do in your home country. As far as you probably have a place of worship that's similar to what you would have in your own country. There's probably a restaurant or some food stores that will sell your food staples from your origin of country and your culture here in Toronto. And it may not be that there's that much down in Houston that supports the different cultures around the world in the same kind of way. In some ways, also, Houston may have a very specific culture that comes and lives there and not so diverse. Like we really have the complete mosaic. I always joke with people that part of living in Toronto that's so great is I never worry about a nuclear threat here because basically we have people from every single country around the world. So if some country wants to bomb us, and we're like, no, don't do Toronto. My uncle lives there. So it's like everybody has somebody who lives here. So nobody's going to want to attack Canada because they're probably going to know somebody here. That's what I always say. But it may be in Houston, they have a very particular couple of countries. There may be a very heavy Chinese population in Houston. I'm sure there is. And there may be just a couple of different countries. But here we have everybody represented. Everybody. I come from a small country called Estonia. And we don't have a lot of people in the whole entire world that are Estonian. But we have a very vibrant Estonian community here in Canada, in Toronto, with all the stuff that I was just talking about. Places of worship, places with Estonian food. You know, I don't know if they have Estonian church in Houston. They probably do, maybe, but who knows? We have like 3 or 4 here. So it's like, that's what I'm saying. David's saying fair. I'll buy him if buy him from you if it means we can move on. Top isn't a troll. He just has his own opinions. Rather refreshing. There you go. See, I'm not mad at Top, and I'm not mad at David either. Some people are very much interested in Fred leaving because they want to see what the alternative is. Well, in some ways, I caution against that. But also, in some ways, I am with them because it could be very interesting to see how Bobby and Masai react to Fred taking the money and going to Houston and see what their backup plan is. Good to see the King is in the house today again from To The Point. Brian is here. Great topic, freak. Thank you, Brian. Telling everybody to come subscribe up to The Point and get ready for that drop, my appearance on your channel for tomorrow. So y'all, if you want to see me on another Raptors content, that'll be tomorrow on To The Point YouTube channel. Give them a subscribe and a follow. Thanks to being here again, Brian. Love seeing you in the chat once again. I love it. MSJ saying, I'm not connected to whatever Canada did to anyone at all. This whole idea I am some appendage to the government and need to feel guilty as a result is something I reject outright. All right, let me tackle this subject because some people have talked about this. Like some people say, white people, why should we feel guilty? White guilt, this kind of stuff. Because this is what this is tied into. I get this. I totally get this. In some ways, I am from a family, one side that wasn't even in America for like until like recent years. My father's side is directly from Europe. So where are my ties to slavery? Well, on my mother's side, there were people that came over on the Mayflower. So I guess there is a little bit of that connection in my life. Now, this is the thing. We're not doing this to make you feel guilty, MSJ. We're just doing what's to make it right. If you have personal feelings of feeling guilty, that's on you. You can search through your own feelings and deal with it on your own. If you want to say, like you're saying, I didn't have anything to do with this. I wasn't alive. I didn't do this shit. So I'm not going to feel guilty. That's your right. And you shouldn't. And nobody's trying to make you feel guilty for this. You're getting two things confused here. What we want is the government of Canada to recognize that they did injustices to Indigenous people on this continent when they came here and did horrible things. And all we want to do is for them to reconcile the situation, whether it's economically, whether it's just justifying or not justifying, just recognizing that they did it and making a proclamation that we were wrong. There's all kinds of different ways we can do this. And this isn't an intention to make all white people feel guilty. Whether it's the stuff in the States with 40 acres and a mule and like, reparations for slavery, that's not the thing. This isn't an attack on white people. Okay. Let's not get this twisted. This is making a wrong right. And this doesn't have to do with you personally. So don't take it personal. Seriously. It's just about making an injustice that happened in the past right. And that's the only way you should look at it. I don't feel guilty about it because I know I didn't do anything in it. It's personally myself that did it. Now, people may be mad at me. Oh, you're a white person. You had something to do with the colonization of this planet. Well, I don't know how to handle that. It's up to every individual person to be like, you want to take the onus or really feel the sensitivity that people are calling you a colonist, a colonizer. Yeah. Don't take the bait and don't worry about this. Let rights be righted. Wrongs be righted, and don't think of it as a personal thing. Nobody's trying to make you feel guilty. And this whole idea of white guilt and this whole thing is stupid. It's stupid. It's everybody on their own opportunities to feel about it. I feel like it was a bad injustice what happened on this continent. And I do feel like my government should stand up and do the right thing. But it's two separate things. I hope I made it clear in some ways. And I'm not dissing you or anything. I totally get what you're saying. Some people feel like we're trying to be forced as white people to feel guilty about things. No, that's not what this is. All people want is to recognize the injustices and make them right. And you don't have to take that guilt on yourself personally. If people are trying to make you feel guilty or calling you names to your face, that's a whole other different thing. So I hope I delineated just how you can separate the two and what I'm saying right now. So listen, I don't want you to feel guilty for this. It's not your fault. I get it. Shir Khan saying, I'm a Fred fan. Bet on yourself. Get that bag no matter what. Where he goes, still hope he takes the 3-year $100 million or 4-year $130 million with Raps. I'm hearing more and more people, like I said, talking about bigger, longer contract periods for Jakob and Fred, and I'm all about it. Mark them down for 5 years in Raptors jersey. I'm all about that stability, and I want that. And less times we have to come around to free agency period and do all this bullshit we're doing right now, the better. Tie them up so we don't have to think about them. They're all ready, and they have security themselves. They get their bag, and they know what's going on, and they're happy. That's what I want. So if we can do long-term contracts on both Jakob and Fred, I'll be very happy, and that will make the Fred haters' heads explode even more. When they see a 5-year deal with the Raptors, yeah, woo. Monique is saying, now I remember about our undrafted players not getting introductory. My bad. Go Raptors for life. W stream, Lex. Keep at it. In Masai, we trust. Always support you, Lex. I appreciate that, Monique. And I'm saying right back to you, Monique. I know your visit to Real Sports. You're not telling me everything about why you were there. But listen, we'll find out down the road. I know you can't tell us all the secrets of what you're doing in your life with the Raptors official. And, I'm excited to find out. Monique went to Real Sports this week, and they had a welcome for her. She got some food. She had a really nice time. And she told them we're coming there for July the 15th. So they know she's returning for a Raptors Freak meet and greet. Now, I don't know if that means they're going to do something with us. That would be insane if somehow, some way we get Raptors official involved in our Raptors Freak meet and greet on July the 15th. I don't know, Monique. I know you know people, and they know we're coming. Who knows what could happen? I'm not going to expect anything. If nothing happens, it's fine. But the fact that they know that we're coming as a fan group, this could be some sort of surprise coming for us, because the Raptors organization knows the Raptor Freaks are coming to Real Sports on July the 15th at 3 p.m. because Monique told them. I don't know what could happen. Seriously, we might have to find out. Brian, just so y'all know, I want to confirm right now, to the points, King. Brian is going to be at the Raptor Freak meet and greet. He told me yesterday when we did the show, I'm there. So he'd like to come down there and meet everybody too. So to the point, we'll be in the house at the Raptor Freak meet and greet. So you can come see Brian also on that day. I'm looking forward to so much. I'm going to have giveaways. I think I'm going to give everybody a basketball card, a random basketball card. And you're just going to get some weird old school Raptor or old school basketball card of some player. It'll be a fun game. I'm already kind of thinking about how I'll do it. Monique is saying happy birthday, Kawhi, yesterday. Y'all forgot? No, we said happy birthday to him on this channel. 32 years old yesterday. It's his birthday and the Champagne twins. I did said it just for just a second in there. I didn't forget. I did say it. Danal saying more cameos, please. You like the cameo that I just did with Alan Arkin? Well, all you have to do is request them, just like Paul B did. You just put in imitation, the colon, and then write in whatever you want me to imitate, and I'll do it, Denali. I am your, your little dancing monkey on the street. If you want me to do some funny, goofy stuff, I'm here for your entertainment. Tom Duke's laughing at it. He thought it was pretty good. I must have did a pretty good Alan Arkin. I don't know. I get them confused. There's two of them. There's the dad. There's Alan Arkin. There's Adam Arkin. And I guess Alan's the older one, and he's the one who kind of talked like the way I talked. He's like in Little Miss Sunshine, right? He's the old guy on Little Miss Sunshine. He has a little bit of a delivery, kind of like Christopher Walken, but he's a little bit more fuddy-duddy on it. I guess that's my technical, like doing impersonations, kind of like assessment of Alan Arkin's voice. I don't know. Most people might not even know who he is, and I kind of tried to do a decent Alan Arkin. I might have been okay. Top saying, watch games since '95. I'm no casual. Boucher struggled with finishing and three-point shooting since 21. You can blame Nick, but if Boucher played better, he'd get more minutes. I'm for the right Canadian players. Okay. Listen, I'm a huge Chris fan. Listen, I don't totally like the things you're talking about. They're important. Is his offense? No, that's not what's important with Chris. You gotta understand, he's a role player. And he's not all about like the 3-point shooting is just extra. It's extra on top. It's gravy on top. It's not even absolutely essential. In fact, I don't really care if Chris takes threes or not. All I care about Chris doing is offensive rebounding and hustling and just playing all out crazy up and down energy up the court. That's his role. His role is to come in off the bench and to get rebounds and run up and down the court and fuse energy into our lineup. And that's what he did very effectively last season. In fact, I thought he had one of his best seasons last year as a player. And you may not think that because you don't look at it other than just statistics and stuff like that. I look at what he's contributing on the court and whether he's a plus or a minus or where he's coming in and he's adding something. There's so many games last season where our starters shat the bed right from the beginning of the game. And all of a sudden, we didn't start scoring until Chris came in. So you tell me, come on, man. You can look at Chris in all kinds of prisms you want to, but the dude's a very solid role player on our team. And in some ways, we need more people like him to understand their role and play within it. That was part of the problem with the Raptors last year. Nobody knew their role. One person did. Chris did. And he was one of the only ones who played effectively most of the time during the season. So you can say this about his finishing, his three-point shooting. You can fucking say that about his finishing? Did you see the way he dunked from the free throw line this year? Did you see all the amazing ways he threw it down? In fact, he was one of the best finishers near the basket. He was more likely to put it in traffic with people hanging all around him than other people on the team. Yeah, I call bullshit on your assessment of Chris and struggling with finishing. And the three-point shot, he was actually one of the higher three-point shooters on our team this past season too. You got to go check your shit, bro. You're off base. You've got the wrong slant of what you're looking at. And no, he played great. Chris just didn't get minutes because Nick had his favorites and he overplayed them. Seriously. There were some games where Chris could have played way more and Nick didn't play him. He should have played him way more. There were some DMPs that Chris had that I just did not understand, that did not make any sense. And that is solely on Nick Nurse right there. You're for the right Canadian players? Well, Chris Boucher is one of the right Canadian players. I'm sorry. You may not think that. Not everybody's going to come in and be the ultimate player. This is one of the great things about Chris. He came in wanting to be Kevin Durant. Well, he had an epiphany when he went to a game in Cleveland and he had to play with 4 hardship players and he had nobody playing. He had to be the man just like Pascal. They lost by like 50 points in a horrible game on a Boxing Day. Well, he realized that day, I don't want to be the man anymore. I don't want to be Kevin Durant. That responsibility, that pressure sucks. So I'm okay with being a role player off the bench. And he embraced his role. So since then, Chris has been more himself the way he's supposed to be than ever. And I completely value him for the price and what he's doing for our team. He's fantastic. So I can't, man. In some ways, I know you're not a casual. You may have been watching since 95, but you don't see the game the same way I do. I see the game for meat and potato stuff. You may be looking for sizzle a little too much. I'm looking for steak and potatoes. I'm looking for real substantiated food and not just a fucking sizzle is what you're looking for. I'm looking for the real deal results. And that's what Chris Boucher does. He gives you results from bringing the energy up when the team can't score in the first 10 minutes of the game. Seriously, you know those games happen that way. You saw them. We couldn't score for the first 10 minutes, and Chris comes out. All of a sudden, magically, we're able to score all of a sudden. It's Chris himself making the score. So yeah, man. All right. You're really towing that line. You're like half striking right now, but you don't have strikes. I say maybe you have a one strike because you have 3 half strikes. We'll just say that. I'm even giving you a half strike off because you have 3 half strikes in some ways right now. I don't like that. That's unnecessary negativity, and it's off base. It just adds to the stupid noise, is what it seems like to me. Smooth Brown Man saying, we will see if what you're saying is right about Fred, but this person on Twitter is accurate a lot, so I'm prepared for his leaving. I just hope JP returns. Who is it? Is it Marc Stein? Because Marc Stein's the one who's saying it the most right now. Now, I'm going to believe Josh Lewenberg over Marc Stein because Josh Lewenberg's proximity to the Raptors front office and the Raptors people is much closer than Marc Stein's is. And Marc Stein may be listening to the Houston side and not the Toronto side. The Toronto side is the one that matters in this. And if experts and people around the Raptors are believing that Fred is coming back, I'm going to listen to them before I'm going to listen to somebody in the States. Is someone we've just taught people recently. Is like, you don't listen to the States rumors over the Canadian rumors. If the rumors coming from Doug Smith, Michael Grange, Josh Lewenberg, I will take that more than I will take it from Zach Lowe, Marc Stein, Chisholm, Jake Fisher, all those motherfuckers down there. They don't mean jack shit because they don't come across the border and they don't really know what they're talking about when they come about Toronto. Well, Lewenberg does. And that's the difference, I would say. David saying at top, you may not be a casual, but you're out to lunch if you're coming at my guy like that. See, all right, this is interesting. This is like David and Top were agreement on Fred to a degree, but now as soon as Top comes after Chris Boucher, David Saborn's favorite player on the Raptors, who he has a jersey for, he's like, no, man, you can't come at my guy like that. Better bench player with a contract of $12 million a year. I'll wait. Yeah, there you go. And Tom Duke's got bonjour. Yeah, David fighting for the honor of Chris Boucher, just like I was just doing. I hope I said things, David, just now that you really liked hearing about Chris Boucher just now. Infamous is saying, I would not be disappointed if Fred stays. Why would my name be included in that list? I go at just should not be named every day. I told him yesterday to get Scotty to sign his custom-made knee pads. All right, cool. Infamous doesn't like that you guys put him on that list of possible Fred haters. He's not about that, and he would like him to stay possibly. He wouldn't be upset if he does. So he wants to make the record clear on that one. There you go. All right, let's see. Mugarbe's saying, Raptors freaks, I'm from Jamaica and I never have to change how I talk. I live in Edmonton, and I'm a Raptors fan from 2011 when I got to this country. So this is the thing. I love this. Mugarbe is an immigrant from Jamaica, and he was already a Raptors fan before he came to Canada. I love that. And he's in Edmonton. He's actually in Alberta, which isn't like Toronto in a lot of ways. Let's just put it that way. And he is allowed to keep his culture there. He did not have to change his accent. He can be exactly who he is in Canada as a Canadian, a Jamaican Canadian. And that's the whole thing. That's what we're talking about. When you talk about assimilation, it means you come here from another country. We want you to be more like us here. Well, he can come here and be like himself in Jamaica in Canada. And that may be the biggest difference between assimilation things in the States and in Canada. Up here in Canada, we don't expect you to just become totally Canadian. You know, you become as Canadian as you want. You want to play hockey? You want to drink beer? You want to have maple syrup? Go ahead. But keep your other stuff, like your patties, your roadie, and your great reggae music. Also, you know, we can have it all both together. That's why Toronto is such a rich, diverse city of great art and creators, because we have such a great Jamaican community here in Toronto that is so vibrant and so full of creating different things like music and art and just like so many great things about that kind of stuff. So that's what we love about diversification and cultures colliding and being together as one and not mixing them all together so they're all one gray color. keep their distinctive colors together in this country. And so we can celebrate and learn from all the different cultures. Somebody like Mugabe could come here and he can learn stuff about Italy and Little Italy here in Toronto. You can go and find out more about different countries that you had nothing to do with and actually get a taste of them and become more global yourself. Very, very cool stuff. And Mugabe, love hearing your story today, man. Really, really does touch my heart. You're the epitome of what Canada is all about, my friend. Top saying, in the same way you believe Grady Dick to be the best pick, trust Masai and defy the best replacement if he walks. This begging for Fred to come back irks because it's like we have no trust. All right, I'm going to break this down once again and be very fair. And once again, I'm not at odds with Top. We're showing a constructive argument here. And it's not me wanting to attack him or anything like that. I, once again, very much respect his presence on this channel, and I want him to be here. I am not totally believing in Grady Dick. In fact, my pick was Jordan Hawkins. I was kind of mad at that instance when they picked Grady Dick. I'm not going to lie. I'm on the record for saying my pick was Jordan Hawkins. And to see him go the pick right after, well, there's some of us like Iceman, like Gervin and I, that are very suspicious about this pick, and we don't totally trust this pick over Jordan Hawkins. And over the next couple of years, we will be kind of like saying, okay, well, Jordan Hawkins is doing this and Grady Dick is doing this. So, but I have to trust Masai because he knows better. They saw more of the two players. And when they made the decision, it's from a much more educated point of view than mine. So in some ways, that's not accurate. I don't totally believe in Grady Dick. I'm going along with it because I trust in Masai, and I don't want him to fail. I'm not that much of a hater or an egotist that I have to be right on this, like some other content creators that always fight to the bitter end to be right. I hope I'm wrong that I didn't believe in Grady, but my eye test on Grady wasn't good. I didn't think his stuff would translate to the NBA. Now I hope I'm completely wrong and that he is a booming, huge success. See, that's the example I'm showing in this situation. So I want to make this very clear. I did not condone the drafting of Grady Dick, but I'm okay with it because Masai made the choice. And that's the trust in Masai right there in this situation. Now, the next part, you're saying to find the best replacement if he walks. Now, nobody's begging Fred to do anything. Now, see, that's just you overcharacterizing something. And it kind of betrays that you hate Fred because you think that we're in some sort of subservient position to him where we have to beg him to stay. No, there's nothing like that. We're all adults. Masai and Bobby know this is a business. Fred knows this is a business. He talks to them. They figure it out. And nobody's begging anybody. In fact, they have such a good relationship. They're probably just talking it out. And they're saying, Fred, we know you can go down to Houston and get $40 million a year, but we can only give you 30. You know that, right? Yeah, we know that, Bobby. We know. I know this is tough. And I want to make as much money as I can. Well, Fred, this is all we can do. If you want to stay here, this is what it is. Yeah, I know, Bobby. Well, I'll have to talk to Clutch, and we'll have to see what we figure out today. Okay, Fred. All right. There's no begging. It's just this is how it is. It's the settings. And he has to make the decision for himself. So the word begging shouldn't be involved in your sentence there. There's no begging for Fred to do this or that. Fred's going to make his decision. We're all grown up. We'll be adults about it. Nobody's groveling on the floor to make him to stay. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Wayne's saying, hang on. MSJ, my fellow Raptors freak, do not take generalities personal. There were Caucasians who died and fought for non-white people's freedom, and your sensitivity to the subject indicates you care. We love you. There you go. See, there you go. Seriously, there's no blame game in this. We have to stay present. We understand there's tragedies. We don't want to whitewash it and make it go away and say it never happened, which is what a lot of people want to do. So when we bring it up, it's not to bring it up to make people feel guilty or feel like they are a part of it. It's not like that. In some ways, yeah, I can get white guilt and how it happens. And maybe you feel like, oh man, my people have oppressed your people for so long. I feel bad about it, bro. Well, let's just be better about it in the future and let's equalize everybody and bring us all up to the same level. And that's how we can make things right. The great thing in some ways, this is a very honorable, like very humble, sweet thing is a lot of people that have been subjugated to bad things like this. It's not that they want an overcorrection and to subjugate us. They just want a fair and balanced place. And in some ways, that is so beautiful in some ways, because in some ways, some people could be punitive and say, well, you subjugated us or this. And that's the great myth of like white fear of that. Is it, the other populations get more and all of a sudden white people are a minority, and then all of a sudden that's what you're upset about because you might get treated like how white people treated other people? Well, that just gives away that we've been fucking treating people the wrong way this whole time. Seriously, equality means equality right across the board. And if that's all they want is equality, that shouldn't hurt you. And it's not like they want to overcorrect and give you a detriment because of it. And if you're losing opportunities because of equality, well, you can up your game and get it yourself and earn it. So there's a lot of different things we can go on down with this whole not argument, but this phenomena and talking about this situation. Once again, we're getting very sociological and a high IQ kind of conversation right now about some very heavy subjects that some people just don't like going to or talking about. So white guilt, choose to have it if you want or not. It's not on you. You don't have to. And nobody's asking you to have white guilt. Let's just put it that way. If you feel it, go through the process and go through it and deal with it. And then go ahead and get to a healthy place where I understand I didn't have anything to do with this, but I do feel bad about things. And I love what Wayne said. It says, it indicates you care. And that's all that matters. That's all that matters right there. If you care and you're part of the solution, and you're not continuing the problem, you're not upholding the racist system of society, and you're trying to dismantle it and help people, then you're on the right side and you're good. And don't worry about it. David's saying, still waiting, top of top. Raps Love saying, he was an amazing finisher. I know. That's where I'm like, I don't get what Top Top's saying, because Boucher was one of the better finishers around the rim for our team this whole year. He always found some weird way to slink in there and just drop it in with 3 or 4 defenders around him. He was doing a crazy stuff. He even a couple times took it off the dribble and attacked the rim and laid it up around people with his long ass arms. So yeah, Raps Love is on point on this comment for sure. And I don't get it. He was an amazing finisher. That's absolutely true. Monique's saying a very special stream for free agency. I love it. Yeah, Monique, it's pretty good. Well, we got to react to this stuff when it actually happens. This is just the calm before the storm. Just wait. I might have some Lexathons coming up real quick because there's going to be a lot of information to talk about. Stargate saying whether Fred goes or stays, either way, the Raptors will be fine. And that's the way real Raptors fans should look at it. We really hope he does stay, and we will celebrate if he does. But if he doesn't, we make the best of what happens and we go get another point guard and we figure it out. And that is an opportunity for change that could be very fun and interesting also. And it could mean good success also. So David's saying, nah, sometimes that happens, Smooth Brown Man. It seems fucked, but happened to many of us in the stream from time to time. What are you talking about? I'm not following. I know there's a couple of different conversations going on. Okay, I'm not totally sure what you're saying to him exactly about what. Yeah, I don't know. Not skipped, simply not posted. Oh, okay. Okay, Smooth Brown Man saying something didn't get read. Yeah, okay, that's what you're talking about. Yeah, sometimes there's weird things where the comment doesn't get posted. I will read every single thing you guys post. Trust me. I see that you have a retracted statement. That's what I see right there. But I will try and read everything. If I don't read it, I didn't see it. Trust me. If I skipped it, it's not on purpose. It may be because it jumped ahead and I didn't get the right spot. But if I do, if anything like that happens, definitely call it out and do it like that, Smooth. Because seriously, I want to read everything y'all have to say. Write it in again, and I'll make sure for sure I'll read it. Top of top saying Boucher under 50% from the field, 32% from 3. He's down in rebounds. I don't hate Chris. I like his hustle, but I think we need more actual skill off the bench because we are among the worst in the league. Well, he's not the place to start. Seriously, think about it this way, Top. Out of all our bench players, he was one of the only good ones. So you want to get rid of one of the good ones? You're starting to sound like a fan of another team that's coming in here trying to destroy us. Because if we have one good bench player, it was Chris Boucher, and you're telling us to trade him away to improve our bench? Does that make any fucking sense? Seriously. He was like one of the few bench guys that Nick Nurse trusted to play as a bench guy. And you're saying we're going to improve our bench by trading him away? Your logic is fucked, bro. It's totally fucked. David's saying the problem is they all want money like their starters. Chris just wants the ball. Yeah. I don't think that's true too. These guys, man, I think people paint athletes as being greedy people, and I don't think they understand everything. I know Chris for sure. In some ways, money is an annoyance. And in some ways, that's a reason, if anything, to keep him around. He's let it be known on Hustle Play. He hates free agency. He hates dealing with all this. He tells his agent to just deal with it and tell him what happens later. He doesn't even want to think about that stress. And in fact, he probably tells them, I just want to stay in Toronto. I don't care what they pay me. Take whatever they give me. If you can get more, that's fine. But if they give me a fair price, just stay. He could have got paid more by another team. He could have got paid more by another team. He showed loyalty to Toronto. So this is how you want to treat him, top of top. Ship him out and trade him out of here. No way. No. We have certain standards of Canadian content we want to keep on Toronto. Well, if we lose Dalano Banton, we only got one Canadian player left, and that's Chris Boucher. So, yeah, no, we're not trying to get rid of all our Canadian players all of a sudden. Fuck that. David's saying hang on. Okay. Monique is saying Lexathon in full effect. Yeah, I'm getting close to 3 hours. I'll try and finish by 3. David's saying, yeah, we didn't see that comment, Smooth Brown Man. Not me, anyways. I don't know where that comment is. And Smooth, please just repeat yourself. I'm sorry if it's annoying to repeat yourself, but I will read it. Top of Top saying, I wanted Jordan Hawkins as well. Said it in this space at the time. Hawkins reminds me of Rip and a bit of Ray Allen. I really see a lot of Ray Allen in Jordan Hawkins. And not only just because he plays for UConn, he just has that kind of form and that kind of like fundamentalness to him. Listen, I'm not going to like lust after my neighbor's wife anymore. This is about like Grady Dick, and I'll talk him up at this point. Jordan is now a Pelican, and that's just how it is. It's just going to go down there. He's not a Raptor, and that's the choice that Bobby made. So I'm fully a Grady Dick guy, and I'm fully getting behind him and getting excited about him. So I'm not going to woulda, coulda, shoulda this shit. I'm not going to be like Suggs fans with Scotty Barnes. Fuck that shit. Just because they didn't draft who I thought, I'm not going to get all bent out of shape like some people that did over Jalen Suggs 2 years ago. So, yeah, I'm going to be a good example in this and say, you know what? This is the choice they made. Let's go with it. And I'm rooting for Grady to be the badass that he looks like he probably will be. So we'll see what happens. Wayne saying, I'm from Jamaica, and I don't want no damn oxtail, curry goat, jerk chicken, and no dance hall noise. I love my poutine, lasagna, and french fries. Give me Jane Arden, not Shabba Ranks. Joke. Love you all. That's hilarious. Listen, whatever. That's the great thing about freedom. It's like if you want to keep your culture encapsulated and be that, or if you want to go and embrace the new Canadian culture and be more Canadian, that's the great thing about freedom, the freedom to choose and to be the percentages of what you just described. That's fine, man. You don't want to do Jamaican stuff anymore. I know you're joking, but this, that's what it is. It's freedom. If you want to have the right to keep your identity culturally when you come to a new country, you don't want to be brought into like some sort of place where it's like, we got to teach you this and this. That's part of the ugly history of Canada is that they took people from out in the plains, indigenous people, and they put them in schools to make them more acceptable to white culture. And that's a fucked up thing. They took children away from parents and tried to make them into society members in the way that they visioned for Canada. And that's fucked up. That's assimilation. That's forced assimilation. And trying to genocide a culture and get them to not speak the native tongue. They do the cultural practices that they did before. And now you wear white men's clothes and you speak the white men's language and you live the white man's life. Yeah, see, that's what we're talking about. There was no choice in that situation. And at this point in Canada, there's freedom of choice. And that's what I love about that. But that's the thing. We got to understand and not turn our backs on and realize this is the ugly history of our country. And when we celebrate it tomorrow, we need to realize the good and the bad about our country. And like I said, the more we can make it right with reconciliation, the better. Yeah. David saying at Smooth, looks like you are retracting your comments. Yeah, they all look retracted. I don't know what it is. All right, now Smooth saying at David, I see NBA Analytics posted at 11 that Houston signed Drake's twin and followed with another saying Toronto, you need a point guard. All right, NBA Analytics. Is that on Twitter? Is that on Twitter? I'll go look at that specifically right now. Sorry. All right, latest. I want to see if this is on there for Fred. Let's see. I'm not seeing anything official yet. Like, I don't take any account, like NBA Analytics. That could just be some made up bullshit. I don't take any of those accounts going on. I really don't. I don't take any like believability with those kind of things often. Unless I see it like officially, and it's not going to happen now. It's got to be after the deadline. So there's nothing we're going to hear right now. It's got to be after 6. And so anything you hear until 6 o'clock is bullshit. And then after 6, if you hear it from a reputable source like Woj or Shams, then you can believe it. But until then, don't believe it. That's what I'll say. Anya saying big up to all hurting Albertans. I was born in Calgary. Let's go. Gonna listen to some Garnet Silk after. Let's go. Bradley, you go, Canadian Cowboy. You're just a badass. I really hope you can make our meet and greet on Saturday, the 15th of July, 3 p.m. Real Sports Bar and Grill. Bradley, I really, really hope you can make it. Bring Anya, bring whoever you can down there. Bring your kids, for Pete's sake. Just make it a family affair and bring them all down there. It's a family environment at Real Sports. I hope you will do that. All right, let's wrap it up, guys. I'm right at the end here. No cutoff for anybody. I guess Nameless took off and did give me a cutoff, but I got 8 minutes until 3 hours. I'm going to just finish it up real quick. Guys, don't be surprised if Dalano Banton is still a Raptor, even though we did that move yesterday. Don't get upset about it. We'll have to see how it all shakes out. If he does go somewhere else, it may be good in the long run. Just listen to me on that. As far as Fred, there's so much news and rumors saying that he will be back with us. So don't be surprised when that happens. And Jakob also. So hopefully everything just gets taken care of tonight. And tomorrow we'll do a Saturday Share the Love Club for a very particular person that had everything to do with what happens today. That's right. We're going to do a Share the Love Club for Bobby Webster tomorrow. Long overdue. And this is the period of time, if any, to share the love with Bobby Webster is right now with this free agency. Hopefully we'll have some good news about things going on tomorrow with Bobby Webster. Thank you, David. Thank you for all the colorful antics of your emoticons. I love it. And thank you guys for getting me to the point where I am able to monetize my channel. I very much appreciate it. Y'all are a huge, huge part of the reason why. And I totally promise I'm not going to let this become some sort of weird thing that messes up my channel. It's always going to be important for me to keep the feel of this channel the way it is right now. And I'm never, ever going to make this channel to exploit this for money. If I get money while I'm doing this, that's great. But this is not the end all be all for me. And it's not the reason why I do this. I do this as a pure, passionate fan of the Raptors. But hey, it doesn't, if you guys want to tip me a little bit here and there, I'm not going to be upset either. So y'all don't take it any kind of weird way that it's important for me to get tons of money. And if you don't have money to give me, don't give me money. All right, please. I ask you that. If you're in financial position and you can't do it, I don't need that kind of support from y'all. I need the support of y'all just showing up and doing what you're already doing. That's what I value the most, just so you know. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me. I'll be back tomorrow, Saturday. Share the Love Club. Bobby Webster. Finally, we're going to put the Raptors GM on blast with sharing the love for him in this free agency period where things are happening fast and furious with all kinds of stuff. We're going to have some spirited streams coming up very soon. As I said, I've got the Summer League roster. I will post it in the comments. So if you want to look at the Summer League roster with some of the information of who we know will be there for sure, I have some of that, even though they haven't officially put it out. I've got some of the names and the information on them, so you can kind of look at what our roster looks like already. All right, y'all. Thanks once again for joining me today. And let's go Raptors. Re-sign Fred tonight. And let's see all those anti-Fred people's heads explode, baby. That's right, Bobby. Let's get these bad fans all twisted and messed up because of this. I love it so much. That's right. Let's go, Raptors. Let's go, Raptors.